News Radio 1120 KPNW. Sunshine, boy, I'm getting out of here just in time. At the heat wave starting Wednesday, 93 degrees, 96 on Thursday, 97 on Friday. It's going to be about 10 degrees cooler than that. And they've been complaining down in Los Angeles about the heat. But now they've kind of subbed the heat with the fire and the smoky conditions down there. It's a bad scene down there in SoCal. But bad up here as well, and in Idaho with fires just about everywhere you look. 'Tis the season. If you're new to these here parts, it's one of the, along with the grass seed pollen, the fires that don't just take a couple of acres up, they go for a while. And the men and women that are out there battling, it turns into a pretty much a combat against not Mother Nature, but the fire itself. Of the conversation that we had with Tommy, the 12-year-old, I think he's a little bit concerned that he could get subbed out, or that he would be, 24 years old, still on the show, because the show would be, still going at that point, and then we'd still be calling him Tommy, the 12-year-old.
Yeah, he brought that up.
Or that he would be, menudoized, and when he was, when he served no purpose anymore, we'd bring somebody else in and bring somebody else in as Tommy the 12-year-old.
Yeah, that would the whole menudo thing. I don't see that happening unless he had one of those haircuts where the back of his hair was really long.
You're talking about a mullet?
Yeah. If he mulleted himself. Remember Menudo at one point had mullets?
I guess.
Yeah. It was in that point in the 80s when bad hair was just sort of the order of the day.
Yeah, you had to.
Right. You had to have bad hair. Otherwise, they took your 80s card.
The fact that that Menudo had a mullet, I'm just curious why.
I just remember pictures of him.
Oh.
I mean, when you said Menudo, I was picturing them on my mind, and the thing that stuck out was the mullets.
So, lime burns?
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I felt wimpier just doing that story.
Now, if you're a bartender, and maybe is this something that I should put a public service announcement out there?
No, please don't.
I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to.
No, don't. Like I said, I felt wimpy just doing that. The chemical, if you're just tuning in, apparently in the skin of limes, there is a chemical that you can get into your skin, at least according to this research. And that after about a half an hour, 45 minutes, what will happen is after you've got the stuff in your hands, you go out into the sunlight, and you'll get these horrific sunburns.
Second degree?
Hands. Yeah, I don't.
Nothing to...
I mean...
how many people, do we know how many people have suffered such burns?
No, we don't. And I don't think anybody has.
Suffered a burn?
Well, potentially someone. Probably somebody with really sensitive skin that is about 90 years old and decided they wanted to make themselves a margarita. I mean, I've made margaritas, and I've, squeezed my, share of lime and lemons in a Corona. And
the concern you thought was the juice spraying into your eye.
No, that's what you said.
I think if you're going to have it...
And I said, yeah, I mean, that to me would be more of a concern.
Right, that's my point.
Than getting it on your hands and then getting a sunburn. And like I said, I felt just wimpy doing that particular story. But I have been, because you have complained so vociferously about the kicker stories. I search for stories like that, not exactly like that, to put them in there so that you will be happy, appeased. So that's why I do it for you.
Don't you agree that, especially like the last couple of weeks, the news has been just
horrific,
god awful?
Yeah,
I mean, it's every top of the hour. Then it's not. It used to be there. It used to be a separation. Oh, okay, here comes the lesser, Eugene Springfield, more cute and cuddly. Not so much anymore. We got pipe bombs in Junction City. Somebody who forgets they have a kid under their watch, a 3-year-old.
That person needs to be just.
And a 4-year-old.
They haven't been found guilty. They haven't been found guilty. But yeah, if you just want to swat that.
I mean, just the fact that you realize, you wake up from your nap and you realize that, one of the kids that you were kind of supposed to be watching, and then you wait.
Well, keep in mind, that's what they say. That's what they said. That, he was only missing for 3 hours. That's what they said. I'm not convinced that the person really cared one way or the other. And secondly, who's taking a nap at 9:30 in the morning?
That
sounds to me more like sleeping in.
Or you were up till 5 or 6. Yeah. All right. Hi.
How are you? By the way, I would like to, if I can bring this up here really quickly, I wanted to, doggone it. Well, maybe we'll have to do it a little bit later.
Do what?
Here, let's see if I can bring it up. I found this the other day. We haven't done this for a while. Remember we used to do Reedsport Police?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, this isn't Reedsport Police, but can you play that little theme music that we used to? Do you still have that on the button bar? Button bar, by the way, is like a sound wall if you have a digital device.
No.
You don't have, too bad.
It's only been 8.5 years since we've done the bit.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I wanted to read you a couple of police logs. This first one is from the Corvallis Police Department. This was from Wednesday, July 20th. I just came across this.
You said Corvallis?
Yes. Improper use of 911. Now, listen to the times here. 4:30 a.m. from Northeast Jack London Street, police responded to the parking lot of Corvus Automation Incorporated after a man called 911 multiple times. Walter Morgan III, a 62-year-old of Corvallis, reportedly called 911 4 times to report he couldn't find his glasses and needed assistance locating an optometrist. There's a holdup in the Bronx. Brooklyn's broken out. That's not even close. Officers reported that Morgan appeared to be, believe it or not, intoxicated. He was given a citation for improper use of 911. Then the Benton County Sheriff's Office received a call at 5:36 a.m. Northeast Circle Boulevard and Highway 20. Deputies responded to a single-vehicle rollover crash and reportedly found a Walter Morgan III, a 62-year-old of Corvallis. Morgan reported that he flipped his vehicle after missing a curb. He reportedly told police that he had been drinking. He was reported to have been sent to Good Sam Regional Medical Center and was cited with a Dewey at the hospital. So Walter had a very busy morning. At 4:30, he called the cops because he couldn't find his glasses or an optometrist. And then at 5:30, he wrecked his car. So a busy evening for Walter Morgan III, a 62-year-old from Corvallis.
Friend?
No. But I'd kind of like to have a chat with him.
Drinking associate?
Yeah.
All right, 6:38. Tommy, the 12-year-old, just in case you missed it, on this, the day of the DNC kicking off. If you missed it, the RNC wrapped up, and Tommy was able to check in with us. You'll hear that next.
Why compromise how you want to heat and cool your home? Resolve your heating and cooling issues the way you want by contacting Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer. Turn to the experts who will listen to your wants and needs for home or business. Their professional staff will listen to you, offering their good, better, and best solutions. Addressing your wants and needs using quality Carrier products, making you Pacific Air comfortable. Pacific Air Comfort. Quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Every election year, you hear lots of promises and few guarantees. Lars Larson here to tell you about one guarantee you have right here in Eugene and Lane County. Jeremy Parmenter will sell your home. That's right. Jeremy guarantees to sell your home at a price and a deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it. And Jeremy will sell your home fast. Darbin and Ruby wanted to sell their home and move out of the country. They didn't need the extra stress that comes with selling their home, so they called Jeremy Parmenter. He sold their home in less than 30 days, right on schedule, and got them $10,000 more than any house in that neighborhood. Why would you think of working with any other agent in Eugene or Lane County? And there's no risk. If you want out of the contract, you're out. Call the only agent I recommend in Eugene. Call Jeremy Parmenter at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. Online, OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com. That's OregonRealEstateAdvisors.com.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. ZipRecruiter.com/quick.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Monday night, increasing clouds with a low around 57. North-northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. A weak upper trough will develop near the coast through Monday and Tuesday, giving us that extra cloud coverage. For your work week, expect morning low clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine and warmer but seasonable afternoon temperatures. A stronger upper level will build for the second half of the week and bring inland highs well into the 90s Thursday and Friday before the next trough arrives to moderate temperatures next weekend.
Whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo. I hear a polka and my troubles are through.
That concludes the musical portion of our program. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
the Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
642. Before you react with a telephone call or an email and want to be a part of the conversation, just realize that this is all archived and recorded from a prior conversation. In fact, it happened on Friday. That being said,
and just keep in mind when I'm talking about Huntsman, I should be talking about Johnson. Just say it.
Good point.
Thank you.
All right, here it is. Tommy, the 12-year-old, from Friday. Just over the midway point of his summer, and he's nice enough to come in here to the wake-up call. Tommy, the 12-year-old, our political analyst. Tommy, welcome back. How's your summer going so far?
It's good. It's been good.
What have you been doing that most 12-year-olds have been doing, are doing as well?
The One Pass. We've been using the One Pass. It's the thing from William Lane. Like you get it, and then you can go places you want for free, and it expires at the end of summer. So like, let's say you could go to Amazon Pool, or you could go to the Raptor Center, and all places like that.
Have you done all that? Did you go to the pool and swim?
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you gone to the Raptor Center?
Yes.
Yeah, what's your favorite raptor?
The osprey.
Why?
My favorite animal is an osprey and a bullfrog. Well, because...
and a bullfrog?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're completely different.
Oh.
No. No, they are? Really?
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, what is it about the bullfrog that you find so fascinating?
Well, I've really liked frogs for a long time, and I like catching them. And I had a a Pacific tree frog that my brother killed, and so because it was so tiny, so I wanted.
So you didn't kill him on purpose.
Yeah, he didn't kill him on purpose. At least I don't think. But I want a bigger frog. Yeah, bullfrog is the perfect
They
one.
can defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, when your brother
almost
comes
did you
in,
a
you want
favor.
frog that can take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To hold
So
his own.
the convention, the RNC, did you have a chance to watch any of it?
Yes. I watched all of the big speeches, pretty much.
And what is your summation as far as the whole thing? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think around the 60% of Republicans that said the party was going to unite were right, that it united at least most of the way. And the speeches from a lot of the speakers, like Paul Ryan, Chris Christie, Rudy Giuliani.
Who had the doozy? Who had the big speech that you thought was...
Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
He had the best speech, I think. Chris Christie, his was pretty entertaining. Trump's is really long, and I tried my best to focus.
You tried your best to focus. I like that. Okay, so what about Ted Cruz?
Yeah, he was probably my.
We should say this because you were a huge Ted Cruz fan.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest disappointment. Like all day, I was like, "Yay!" and I was talking to people, and they were all like, "Yeah, he's going to endorse him." That was the biggest thing I was upset about in the whole convention. Next to when Rubio was on the phone, they didn't say, "Let's give a big hand for Marco Rubio." They didn't say that. I wanted them to.
A little lackluster intro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's your feelings about Cruz? You think
that just ruined his career? I don't think he's gonna. If he plans to run in 2020, he's not going to. If he would have endorsed him, he would have a better chance.
Somebody has described it as the longest suicide note ever.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I don't get him. Yeah.
What
a big supporter of that anymore.
All right, you said that you think he destroyed his career. What if in a week or two, he comes out and says something along the lines of, "Well, I'm voting for Trump."
I guess.
Do you think that would rehabilitate him at all, or would it be too little, too late?
I think it's too late. It might help him a little bit. Like my family, especially, big supporter of Ted Cruz. But after he dropped out, we went to Trump, but we still kind of agreed with him, and now we just don't even like him anymore. So he would be helpful in some positions because his conservatism, but he's not going to be able to win in 2020.
Of the moments that you were able to focus on the 75-minute speech, what stood out? Is there anything that Trump said that either you really liked or you thought was effective, or something that you thought that he didn't sell me on that one?
I thought the most effective thing in his speech was the thing where he said that the Orlando terror attack was focused on the LGBTQ community, and then he said he was thanking the crowd for cheering him as a Republican. That was probably the most effective thing that will win him a lot of. He still has a decent amount of LGBTQ voters for a Republican, but I think that will get him a lot more, especially Bernie supporters.
I agree. That was. I mean, you kind of saw him kind of change his whole demeanor right there. And really connected. What do you think of Pence, his decision for the VP?
I like Pence more than I like Trump. He's very successful. He's a very successful governor of Indiana, and him picking him kind of evens out the ticket. So the things that Trump doesn't do, Pence does. So, yeah, that was a really good choice, I think.
Of the main speakers, who do you think was the most ineffective?
Ben Carson.
Yeah.
If anything, I think he had a negative effect. Really.
I didn't see his speech. Why?
It was basically accusing Hillary Clinton of following Saul Alinsky and being a worshiper of Lucifer. And that was had a lot of negative feedback, and I did not like it at all. I think that was way too overboard.
I have to go back and watch that. That sounds just kind of odd and creepy.
Yeah.
He was my first person, actually. I liked him at first.
He just doesn't seem like the type that would be a very good actor trying to role play something like that. That just sounds kind of weird and creepy.
By the way, if you're just joining us, Tommy, the 12-year-old, our political analyst here on the Wake Up Call. So heading into the Democratic convention, what do you suspect they're going to do to kind of try to put the capper on it and kind of offset any damage that was done the last week?
Well, I think they're going to do the same thing that they do always, just blame the Republican Party for racism and separating the black community from the white community. And it's just going to be a normal thing that I'm going to throw up watching.
You say throw up?
Oh, no, I'm probably going to be sick.
Just a little bit, something kind of in your mouth.
Yeah.
You just kind of want to. Sorry for you.
I might listen to like one night and then I'll turn off the TV and possibly break the remote.
So I want to talk about this because you talked about off the air. Talk about this map that you have constructed.
Okay, so there's this website called 270 to Win. So 270 to Win, and it has an elective map thing. So it's a map of the United States, and you can, if you touch a state, it turns a different color. So it's like gray is like the battleground states are that, and then there's blue, Democrat, red, Republican, and then it has all of the electoral votes that they're worth, and then at the top it has the numbers that each party has, and so it has 270 in the middle.
So did you research every single state to kind of see what you thought the tendency was?
As much as the polls I could find, and I kind of found the average of them, and I made my own map.
Trump versus Hillary, who do you have winning?
I have Hillary winning by at least 3 points. But from when I made it, it looks like she will win. But I think it's going to change. I think at the election, I think Trump will win by at least 3 points.
You've got some debates in there. You've got their convention, so they could have a debacle happen. You never know. A lot of factors. But you said off the air too that if Bernie had been the Democratic,
I think Trump would get destroyed. He would win all the independent voters that Trump is really good with, and so that's the reason why Trump.
So you think Bernie would beat Trump?
Yes, I think Bernie's supporters are a reason why Trump will beat Hillary, because around 10% of Bernie supporters will either stay home or vote for Trump, and that's going to really help him.
What do you think about Gary Huntsman? Do you think he's going to have any effect? The Libertarian?
No.
None at all?
No.
On either side?
I don't think so. I was worried that he would take even 5% of the vote away from Trump. I'm not worried about him anymore.
Why?
Because I've interviewed a lot of people that are undecided, and they haven't even mentioned a Libertarian. Like, I've asked about him, and they're like, who? Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I wouldn't vote for him. So I guess some will, but I don't think it will affect him very much.
So you're betting on the ignorance of the populace to keep him from being a factor.
I don't see why they think that they can have it. Why do the Libertarians run? Why? Is it to drain votes from the Republican Party? Why?
Well, what do you think? People talk about a third party. I mean, they think eventually there's going to be enough frustration with the two that they need some help.
I don't think that's going to be anytime soon, though.
See, the problem with libertarians are, just by their very nature, they're not people that work together well. And so because of that, they're never going to be what I consider to be a major force, just by their very nature of being libertarian, which is very, very much too individual almost.
I don't know anyone that's a libertarian or has voted for them. I used to be really scared of him.
Who, John Huntsman?
Yeah, because...
why? What did he do to you?
Well, I was worried that he would drain enough votes from Trump that Hillary would absolutely destroy him. But now that I've been looking into him more, I don't think he'll have any effect, really.
I saw something the other day about Huntsman where they were thinking that potentially that Hillary... folks that were supporters of Bernie Sanders that don't like Hillary would be more apt to vote for him than...
For Huntsman.
For Huntsman, and that actually his candidacy could hurt her more than Trump.
Yeah, that would be...
That would be your optimal thing.
Yeah, that would be something that I'd support.
Go Huntsman.
Sometimes I want a third-party, more liberal person to run. Like, I have been pushing Bernie Sanders to run after he endorsed Hillary. It's like, okay.
You've been pushing him? Have you been, like, sending letters to him going, Bern?
No.
Getting on the phone?
Hi, I'm Tommy the 12-year-old, and I have a favor to ask.
Run third party.
Well, you can always contact Ralph Nader. They say that he's the one that screwed it up for Al Gore in 2000. That he sucked enough away that it ruined it for Gore. So, send a couple of emails out. Maybe
someone like Bernie, someone that would take at least 10% of
just
her vote
as
away.
a strategy ploy.
Just as a little bit. Even a few percentage will help Trump, because it looks like she's going to win by like 3 points at the moment. And if you take at least 10% of the vote out, he'll win some of the major. Trump will win some of the major battleground states.
Question off the email. Liz wants to know how much time do you spend in front of the computer and TV versus how much time you spend outside?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so
sounds like we're getting into a kind of a sensitive area here.
So I spend a lot of time on my tablet. I don't have a computer. That's a kind of leeway for that question. I don't have a computer. I have a tablet, and most of the time I'm watching, videos of either debates or just something that I like World War II or something like that.
Oh, so
and then
take a week, like how much, doing that, and then how much outside?
So when it's warm outside, we either go to the park or our neighbors or to Amazon or somewhere else.
Like a swimming pool?
Or we go to my sister's out in Veneta, and when it's warm, we go swimming, and then if it's warm enough and dry, we go riding on the quads around the house.
Okay.
So I'm outside fairly decent amount of time, more than some of the people.
But do you take your tablet with you just in case?
No. I don't do that.
Do you have a smartphone?
No.
Okay. Do you want a smartphone?
No, I don't see a need for that. That's why they called me 70 years old. I'd rather have a little pocket thing, maybe walkie-talkie.
Who calls you 70 years old?
My dad and some of my family members.
Thinks you're 12 going on 70?
Yeah, and that's when I turn 13. I'm probably going to have the number 71 on my birthday cake.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, we got to run. Have a great rest of your summer, but we'll have you back in.
Too. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we'll have you talk about the Democratic convention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's from last week, 11:20 KPNW.
Shift into savings now at your local Kubota dealer. Take on the tough jobs in a tractor you'll be proud to own. A powerful Kubota Standard L Series. With the right combination of dependable horsepower, high-quality construction, and ease of operation, they're perfect for the independent property owner. Now get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years. Now through September 30th, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about costs and terms. Mid-Valley Tractor, family-owned for over 30 years. Just a mile and a half past the Beltline on Highway 99.
It's Yodel Summer Days at Midgley's. Get $300 off the purchase of any Yodel wood or gas stove or fireplace insert in stock. Save up to an additional $1,000 in tax credits. That's up to $1,300 off a Yodel right now at Midgley's. Midgley's factory-trained installers provide professional installation. We're located at the corner of 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Yodel Summer Days at Midgley's. Anywhere else and you're just playing with fire. CCB 161946.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Carol, I've been in your house a million times, and I've never noticed the view. It's beautiful. What's different?
These new invisible tilt shutters from Budget Blinds, they open everything up.
But where is the tilt bar in the...
Everything's hidden. You just get these clear open views.
Amazing.
And what's even more amazing, they're offering Invisible Tilt as a free upgrade right now.
Really?
It's Budget Blinds' biggest sale of the year.
Upgrade to invisible tilt shutters for free during Budget Blinds' biggest sale of the year and get custom blinds, shades, and drapes at our best prices. Plus, call now and get a free in-home consultation and the strongest warranty in the industry. And with Budget Blinds' expert measuring and professional installation, you won't have to lift a finger. Don't miss Budget Blinds' biggest sale of the year. Call your locally owned Budget Blinds at 1-800-750-3959. 1-800-750-3959. That's 1-800-750-3959.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stock index futures are holding steady after equities cap their longest run of weekly gains since March. This is coming amid optimism over corporate earnings. S&P futures are down a fraction of a point. NASDAQ futures down almost 2. Dow futures are down 2. Among those companies slated to report their results today is Texas Instruments. Elsewhere, shares of Yahoo are edging a bit lower. Verizon is going a little bit higher so far this morning. The news this morning is that Verizon is buying Yahoo's core assets for around $4.8 billion in cash. The two companies say they see the deal closing in the first quarter of next year. Carmike Cinemas is up 1% in pre-market trading. AMC Entertainment Holdings, controlled by China's richest man, has sweetened its offer to buy the theater chain by about 10%. The price tag here, $1.2 billion. NYMEX crude this morning down 1.6% at $43.46 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Some cheered, other Democrats chanted, shame. As Debbie Wasserman Schultz addressed Florida delegates a short time ago, trying to stress party unity amid a hacked email scandal that prompted her to resign as the Democratic National Committee chairwoman. The convention starts this afternoon. Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Philadelphia.
Well, Dave, tonight's convention theme is United Together, but Democrats appear to be anything but right now, thanks to the publishing of those 19,000 emails by WikiLeaks that suggest the DNC favored Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. This Sanders supporter says it's confirmation of what he thought all along.
The Clinton people stole it. I think the corruption is starting to become more publicly known with the WikiLeaks and such.
Now, Sanders is set to speak tonight here at the convention in the arena where I am, along with First Lady Michelle Obama and Senator Elizabeth Warren. Dave.
Tanya, retired General John Allen, who used to oversee NATO troops in Afghanistan, came out and endorsed Hillary Clinton this morning. Police in Fort Myers, Florida, keep trying to sort out a shooting outside a nightclub after midnight that left 2 people dead, 17 wounded, 1 still critical. Fox's Evan Brown live in Miami.
Dave, Fort Myers police confirm it is not a terrorist-related incident. Club Blue was hosting a teen night party. They had lots of security, including armed guards, but the shooting took place outside, and investigators think it was gang-related. They're questioning 3 people now. A secondary crime scene is also being worked where some vehicles were shot and another person injured. The nightclub is located in a strip mall, which also includes a daycare center, Dave.
There have been a Texas police officer who radioed for help from his home early this morning, was then found shot dead in the backyard north of Austin. No arrests have been made. A wildfire has now chased people from 10,000 homes north of Los Angeles, though this man's not going anywhere.
They'll have to arrest me. They'll take me out of here in shackles. I'm not leaving.
The 51 square mile fire has torched 18 houses. 1 person's dead. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Lane County's most prestigious builders showcase their best during the 31st Annual Tour of Homes, presented by Jerry's Home Improvement Centers, Umpqua Bank, and Ramjack West. This year's tour is on now in a neighborhood near you and features 14 homes in a variety of price ranges. You'll see the latest in design, construction, and decorating. Go to tourofhomes.com for information. The 31st Annual Tour of Homes is brought to you by the Register Guard, NBC 16, Northwest Natural, and News Radio 1120 KPNW.
We all play a role in keeping our community safe.
Every day, we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life.
It's when something doesn't seem quite right that it's time to pay attention.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Stocks are falling to start the week. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live on Wall Street.
I got transferred in and I didn't hear the show. How much time?
All right, I don't think Nicole can hear what I'm saying, but stocks are dropping and the Dow is down 64 points. And it's down around 18,507 now. We've also seen the S&P 500. It's down 7. The NASDAQ is down by 5 points. And the price of oil has also been declining today. It's down nearly $1. It's back under $44 a barrel. As gas continues to drop, it's down 7 cents the past 3 weeks in analyst Trilby Lundberg's nationwide survey of stations.
Of course, crude oil prices can turn everything topsy-turvy. If they crash, we will see more declines than I thought. If they jump back up, then the decline at the pump will be very small or not at all.
Our price for regular is $2.22 a gallon. AAA's own survey has gas even cheaper than that, a $2.16 national average. There is a deal in technology today. Verizon agreeing to buy Yahoo for a little less than $5 billion. It was several years ago when Yahoo rejected a Microsoft offer to buy the company for $45 billion. In Germany, they keep investigating the Syrian who blew himself up outside a music festival in Ansbach, injuring a dozen people.
The explosion did not occur in the event location, but in front of it.
That is Ansbach's Mayor Carla Seidel. She says the bomber being denied entry into that venue helped limit the number of victims. He was the only one killed. Now, Bavaria's top security official says they did find a video in the bomber's phone in which he was pledging allegiance to the leader of ISIS. He announced a revenge attack in that video against Germany, and they say that strongly suggests that indeed it was a terror attack in Germany, days after the shooting in a shopping mall that left 9 dead in Munich. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
1120 KPNW. Welcome in, 7:05, 5 after 7, Monday, July 25th. If you're going to be writing checks out or anything where you need to know some kind of timeline. Sunny and 89 degrees, 50, call it 59 currently. At 11:20 KPNW, Professor Alan Sachs coming up, and Jerry Jesvold from Serenity Lane coming up as well. If you want to get in touch with the radio station, of course, you've got several different avenues. 1120kpnw@gmail.com. We got one last week. Somebody won tickets and actually took the time to write in a card a thank you. And I thought that is so much more appreciated than, an email is great, any kind of thank you note, but when you take the time to actually send it, that's old school. And you can tell they had, it's different. It's different than a thank you from through the email. But always good to hear if something was good or bad. If you won something, you're like, I appreciate the tickets, but it wasn't quite up to par. Not everything has to be rosy, but if you did win tickets and you actually used them over the weekend at the Lane County Fair,
hope you had a good time.
Yeah, hope you had a good time. I'm curious what you ate off the fair line. It's hard as I walk around. I always try to think, okay, I don't want to be the creature of habit, but as soon as I see DeFrisco's, the cart to Frisco, oof, I'm sold right there. Had the big, for $9.50 you can't beat it. A huge thing of had the noodles, even a salad, and a big thing of tender chicken. Their sandwiches are to die for. But they had pretty much, it used to be the county fair had a couple of things, but now they've really expanded their. They got the big turkey legs and bobs.
Yeah.
Although now it's not. It's maybe a little of the luster because there's the actual restaurant.
Not as cool now that you can go in and just buy a bag of burgers.
A bag of burgers.
Yeah.
And I think you pointed out that I got the brute, and that's not the way to go.
No, you have to go with the original burgers. Next time I go in, I've got to do the cheeseburger. Cheeseburger was always like a secondary, tertiary choice, but I need now to get the taste of the cheeseburgers once. And I'm hoping they still use the kind of orangish yellow wrap that they used on them before.
That with the paper?
Yeah.
Boy, you are a traditionalist.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it for sure. Well, I was happy that they didn't use any printing for the normal burgers. Remember, because it was just they were wrapped in white.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, white, whatever kind of paper that is.
I don't think they have Jamocha shakes, though. I was kind of bummed out. Remember they used to have the Jamocha?
Yeah.
No Jamocha shakes.
Did you specifically ask?
They had root beer shakes, and I had,
And they said no Jamocha?
No Jamocha.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have to maybe make a return and put another suggestion in there, maybe they'll come around. By the way, in case, and this is unpaid ad, if you don't know and you're a fan of the Bob's is out there, Bob's Express out there on West 11th.
And by the way, if you're in a hurry, probably not the best place to stop at. They're still fairly busy, so just factor in a little extra time. And the drive-through, as of yet, is not open.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, the 2 times I've been by, they hasn't been open.
That's because they've got the Fran's bread truck parked out there.
So as soon as they move that, then they can get there.
Well, the deal is they're going through so much product is they need somewhere extra to store all of the bread, all the buns. So
awesome. It's great. All right. What are you working on? You still working on stuff or what?
Oh, yeah, I'm still working on stuff. Well, we have the, pardon me, the issue with Junction City, and was it a gunshot? Was it an explosion? What was it? We'll have that story coming up. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at the Eugene Police Department and an investigation into some rather frightening break-ins. We'll take a look at those stories. Zika virus once again in the news. All that and more brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW.
710.
Hi, this is Bill London for Burrito Amigos. Over the years, one of the best things about being in Eugene professionally for me has been getting to know the Burrito Amigos folks. The late Les Perry used to tell me stories about how working for the gas company led him to mandate the surgical suite-style cleanliness of the kitchens. Larry's always good for a story about how hard it is to get and keep ripe avocados and why it was important for them to start using certified Black Angus beef. The why? Because it's tender, tastes better, and doesn't have surprise gristle wads. And Sandy Perry always has a proud smile over how many of her family recipes are a part of the menu. Burrito Amigos is really based on family, with daughters and son-in-laws and grandkids all helping or running the restaurants. So when you order an Amigo burrito or Baja fish taco or a delicious platter of Amigos nachos, which you really need to try without a bata, you're getting years of history figuring out how to get it right, and you're getting served the golden rule way, where you're treated the way they'd want to be treated. Good food, great people, Burrito Amigos, a history of doing it right.
Get instant cash back at Discount Windows.
Discount Windows is working with Energy Trust of Oregon to help you reduce energy costs and improve the comfort of your home.
Don't wait 6 to 8 weeks for a check. Make your project more affordable right now with instant savings.
We've handed out over $20,000 in instant cash incentives in just 5 months. Instant savings at Discount Windows.
Highway 99 in Junction City.
Open 7 days a week.
Instant cash incentives applies to windows installed by Discount Windows. CCP 180018. At Batteries Plus Bulbs, save $10 after mail-in rebate on Duracell Ultra Premium Gold and Platinum car batteries. Visit Batteries Plus Bulbs in Eugene and now open in Corvallis on 9th Street next to the grocery outlet.
Bike down to the ballpark when the M's return Tuesday, the 26th. Enter to win giveaways from Burley and Performance Bike. The 27th, Kids Eat Free. Wednesday on Zombie Night at PK Park. Then keep it real on Old School Hip Hop Night. /$3 Thursday presented by Pabst Blue Ribbon. Details at emeraldsbaseball.com.
Now, this morning's wake-up call with the latest news from the Northwest and your neighborhood on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, the Lane County Sheriff's Office, along with other jurisdictions, responded to a call of shots fired in Junction City Sunday night. Shortly before 7 p.m., 2 Junction City Reserve officers were patrolling near 10th Avenue in Greenwood when they heard what they thought was a gunshot directly in front of them, and they thought they were being fired at. They called for assistance, and they got it from the Lane County Sheriff's Office, OSP, the Lynn County Sheriff's Office, and more from Junction City Police. Lane County deputies sent out an alert to neighbors in the area to stay in their homes as law enforcement went door to door, performing welfare checks on neighbors in the area, many of whom reported that they heard something that sounded like a gunshot or an explosion. Eventually, investigators located evidence on Greenwood between 9th and 10th of what is believed to be an explosion. No injuries were reported. The case is under investigation. Police have arrested the stepfather of a 4-year-old boy found wandering Main Street alone Sunday morning. Kyle Rowe was arrested and lodged at the Springfield jail on a child neglect charge. Springfield police said 2 Good Samaritans found the child at around 9:30 in the morning on the 2400 block of Main Street without any shoes or without a shirt. Police say they searched the area for 90 minutes looking for the parents, but were unable to locate them. Around 4:30 in the afternoon, 7 hours after the child was found, police say they were contacted by the parents of the unidentified boy to report him missing. They allegedly told police the child disappeared for about 3 hours while Rowe was taking a nap. Police would like the public to be aware of a burglary trend in the Eugene Southeast Hills. They're investigating 2 different burglaries that have the similar M.O.
The MOs were that the suspect or suspects got into the victim's vehicles and used the garage door openers. They then got into the garages and homes, and the victims were actually in the house sleeping, and they got burglarized, and they woke up to find that they had been burglarized.
Melinda McLaughlin from the Eugene Police Department says what's disturbing is that in both cases, the suspects or suspect did the burglaries while the victims were home and sleeping. The burglaries occurred sometime after 11 p.m. July 20th. EPD asks that you keep your doors locked and do not leave your garage door opener in your vehicle if it's not parked inside your garage. A 21-year-old woman reported being raped by 5 men early Sunday at a reggae festival in Scioto. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office learned that the woman was at the Silver Dollar Tavern in Scioto Saturday night when she was approached by 2 men. Deputies were told by the woman that she drank alcohol with the 2 men and around 1 a.m. Sunday agreed to go with them to the reggae festival. The woman reported that the 2 men, along with 3 others, raped her. She said she was actually, police say that she was later treated and released from Sandy M. Hospital in Staten. The victim said she didn't know the assailants. She believes they were from Washington State. She described them as black males in their late 20s or 30s. They're believed to be driving a rental motor home with an unknown Washington plate. The motor home was described as having a vinyl wrap with a picture of a large dog and an unknown 800 number on the side of it. Yet another baby has been born with Zika-related birth defects, this time in New York City. Brad Ford says Oregon officials have some advice for travelers ahead of the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Brazil.
It begins with a warning for pregnant women.
We're advising that they not go at all.
The Oregon Health Authorities, Dr. Paul Cieslak, advises others to prevent the Zika infection during and after travel to Rio de Janeiro. Zika is usually spread by mosquitoes, so protect yourself from bites on the trip. It can also spread sexually. Women should delay pregnancy for 8 weeks after travel or after symptoms start.
And that men avoid sex or take steps to prevent spreading the infection sexually for 8 weeks after travel, even if you haven't had any symptoms.
If you have had symptoms, take those steps for 6 months. Zika is spreading through Latin America, the Caribbean, and parts of the South Pacific. Brad Ford, KPNW News.
There are mosquitoes known to carry Zika in the U.S., but none of them happen to be in Oregon, at least yet. 2 state programs that helped Oregon homeowners avoid foreclosure and get caught up with their mortgages in the wake of the Great Recession are being revived because of federal funding. The U.S. Treasury awarded 2 Oregon grants this year totaling $94.5 million for the Home Rescue and Loan Preservation Assistance Program. The grants were issued from the government's Hardest Hit Fund, which was created to help 18 states and the District of Columbia. The Home Rescue Program provides homeowners up to 12 months mortgage or $20,000. It's accepting applications now. The loan program, which starts back up in September, gives qualified homeowners up to $40,000 to make a delinquent mortgage current. Oregon Housing and Community Services spokesman Mike Boyer says about 14,000 homeowners in Oregon are at least 90 days behind on their mortgages. 3 ballot initiatives that would have restricted clear-cutting and aerial spraying in Oregon have failed to qualify for the November general election. Steve Paderi, a chief petitioner for all 3 proposals and a conservation director for the Oregon Wild Environmental nonprofit, says opponents were pretty much able to stop them cold.
Trying to delay the process as long as possible. They took it all the way to the state Supreme Court. They lost every round, but they did succeed in delaying things. We didn't get a final ruling from the state Supreme Court on the aerial spray measure until about a week before the deadline, and we're still waiting a ruling on the steep slope logging measure.
One of the petitions would have imposed new limits on aerial spraying applications and was able to obtain the Supreme Court's approval for its ballot title language, but it didn't have enough time to collect 88,000 valid signatures by the July 8th deadline. The state's highest court is yet to rule on the ballot title for another petition that would restrict aerial spraying and logging in landslide-prone areas. A third petition to prohibit clear-cut timber harvest was withdrawn by supporters due to legal complications involving forest land property value laws. No word on when or if any of these measures will ever resurface. Oregon's bottle bill redemption value is going up. Brad Ford reports.
The amount of money you get for returning water, soda, and beer containers will double next year.
It's going to go from 5 cents per container up to 10 cents per container.
The Oregon Liquor Control Commission's Christy Scott says people's recycling habits seem to have changed.
They may be recycling, but they're recycling at their curbside and not taking them back to the store or to a redemption center.
State law says if the bottle return rate drops below 80% for 2 consecutive years, the redemption value goes up. Redemption rates were below 70% for 2014 and 2015. The change takes effect next April. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
The OLCC enforces Oregon's bottle bill. It was the first in the nation when it was created in 1971. A proposed campaign in Bend will encourage people to donate to charity instead of panhandlers. A group under the city's Downtown Livability Committee determined it would be more successful in promoting donations than increasing enforcement and citations. Bend Police Chief Jim Porter and the rest of the group told the council last week that money goes further when donated to organizations that actually help the homeless. Family Kitchen Development Director Donna Burklow was on the committee and said that panhandlers typically use the money to feed their booze or drug addictions. She said that the MOVE campaign, to move the campaign forward, a company needs to be hired to develop a marketing plan and slogan. Options include donation stations and giving via text messaging. One group estimates over 2,000 people are homeless in Central Oregon. The Oregonian is also asking a state judge for a temporary restraining order to keep the Grant County Sheriff from deleting his government emails. They say Sheriff Glenn Palmer systematically destroys his official emails in a potentially criminal practice that needs to be stopped. Portland lawyer Charles Hinkle says Palmer deletes every email he sends or receives to the email address that's posted on the sheriff's office website. Hinkle says the sheriff's office continues to delete them even after receiving public records requests for them. A hearing on the restraining order is scheduled for tomorrow in Grant County Circuit Court. Fire crews continue to make progress on battling a wildfire 9 miles northwest of Condon. The blaze is burning in BLM and Gilliam County protected lands. The fire grew about 9% overnight, bringing it to almost 8 square miles in size. It's burning in mostly light, grassy fuels. It came to within 200 feet of Highway 206. The Central Oregon Fire Information Center said the fire, as of now, is about 55% contained, although they expect full containment by sometime early this evening. The second suspect in the murder of a couple in Washington has been found in Mexico. Brad Ford has that story.
53-year-old John Reed was wanted in connection with the murder of Patrick Shunn and his wife Monique Patnaud near Oso, Washington. They were allegedly killed over a property dispute. Investigators believe that Tony and John Reed, who are brothers, fled to Mexico. Tony Reed turned himself in last month and led detectives to the couple's gravesite, which was in the same ravine where their vehicles were found crashed. John Reed was arrested by police in Sonora, Mexico. He was sent out of the country for violating immigration laws and arrested at the border. He has been on the run since April. Brad Ford, KPNW.
And finally, the smell of chickens could be a key to preventing the transmission of malaria and the Zika virus. Scientists from Sweden and Ethiopia found that malaria-carrying mosquitoes avoided homes where a live chicken had been suspended in a cage. They think mosquitoes avoid chickens because chickens eat bugs, and chicken blood may not be sufficiently nutritious enough to risk being eaten by, a fowl. Most important, they say the mosquitoes did not have to see the chicken to be deterred. Just the smell alone kept the mosquitoes out of houses and bedrooms. Scientists said they've isolated the mosquito-repelling chemical compounds, and they hope to use it to develop a synthetic repellent. At 7:23, this look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So, soccer came and went yesterday at Autzen Stadium. If you want to see what kind of impact it had compared to a Saturday in the fall, check out our Facebook page. As far as the game was concerned, Sergei Aurier scored twice for Paris Saint-Germain, and Inter Milan falls 3-1. I would say the FUT ball experiment might be short-lived in Eugene. A little over 24,000 fans in the stands.
I was born 5 months.
Cooperstown has more mugs in the hall. The most voted for player ever, Ken Griffey Jr., was inducted. The number one pick from the 1987 draft played for the Mariners, the White Sox, and the Reds. Jr. talked about senior.
I was born 5 months after his senior year, and he made a decision to play baseball to provide for his family. That's what men do.
Mike Piazza took a remarkably different path as he was selected in the 62nd round and was playing first base when he was able to latch on to the LA Dodgers as a favor. Piazza talks about his trip to the Hall.
The only way I ever thought I would be here with you is if I bought a ticket. It's tremendous. It is a testament to our great country and game that dreams can come true.
Russia will be represented after all. The IOC says no to the track and field team, but will allow the rest of the team to compete in Rio as long as they haven't been caught juicing. The whole hubbub started after it was discovered that there was a state-sponsored doping program. By the way, the U.S. men's basketball team, I think they'll be okay. They beat Argentina 111-74. They haven't lost in 10 years. And a sad note out of Wisconsin, Nebraska punter Sam Foltz and former Michigan State punter Mike Sadler died in a car crash coming home from a kicking clinic. LSU kicker Colby Delahousse was injured but should make a full recovery. Nebraska coach Mike Riley said he expected the tragedy to bring the team together, and they'll do their best to honor Sam every day. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can always try before you buy. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice. News time, 7:26.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Monday night, increasing clouds with a low around 57. North-northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. A weak upper trough will develop near the coast through Monday and Tuesday, giving us that extra cloud coverage. For your work week, expect morning low clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine and warmer but seasonable afternoon temperatures. A stronger upper level will build for the second half of the week and bring inland highs well into the 90s Thursday and Friday before the next trough arrives to moderate temperatures next weekend.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, sponsored by Eugene's #1 electrical contractor, Builders Electric. Nobody is privileged enough to go through life without making a few mistakes. Mainly, since there are so many aspects of life that we can't control, we're bound to make a mistake once in a while. Well, someone once shared this idea that people aren't failures unless they begin to blame somebody else. That statement simply reminded me of the familiar optimist creed that says, if you give the time necessary to improve your own life, you won't have time to criticize others. Blaming and criticizing others is a mistake that you can easily avoid by paying more attention to how you can improve your own life. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
This Motivational Minute was brought to you by Builders Electric, providing honest, reliable, and positive contracting throughout the Willamette Valley since 1960. That's Builders Electric, CCB number 4296.
Need a little boost in energy this summer? Try Max Muscle's Emerge. It's a refreshing energy drink without the negative side effects, and it comes in 12 amazing flavors, including the new Caribbean Cooler. Try before you buy. Max Muscle, 2001 Franklin Boulevard.
This is your wake-up call.
It's like no cheese I've ever tasted.
News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Thanks for being with us this morning. Joining us once again, it is the unofficial official political science professor of the state of Texas. It is Professor Alan Sachs from the University of Texas at Arlington. He's a political science professor there, go figure, and he joins us on the Wake Up Call. Hello, Prof. How are you doing this morning?
I feel the burn.
Oh, are you feeling the burn? Are you feeling?
I was, but I'm not sure if I do anymore. I'm watching the Clinton campaign manager try to explain on live television what these emails are all about, but he did say they're reflecting on them.
Okay, so I would like
whatever that means.
I would like to play a little bit of audio here to just put into context what you're talking about. This is the former head of the DNC, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when asked whether they were rigging the game against Bernie Sanders.
It's pretty clear that you're favoring Hillary Clinton. What do you want to say to Bernie Sanders supporters?
There's just no shred of evidence to suggest that I'm favoring Hillary Clinton. I am running, Maria, if I wanted to go, I'm not doing a very good job wrapping the nomination up for her if I were actually favoring Hillary Clinton. I could have worked a lot harder at it if that were what I was doing. There's no evidence to that effect. Okay. You know, it's my job as the National Party Chair, as you know, Andrea, to neutrally manage our nominating contest. And let me state again, we are not putting our thumb on the scale for any candidate. In fact, I'm very proud of the result of our 6-debate schedule because, quite frankly, it's resulted in record viewership.
Has this process been fair to Bernie Sanders?
Of course it's been fair. We have managed this primary throughout the primary nominating contest in a neutral and fair way.
And by the way, that goes on and on and on and on.
Bernie would not agree with what she said.
Yeah.
No question about it. Bernie calls it all rigged, and he's probably right. So did Donald Trump. But what's interesting, Bernie Sanders is going to speak tonight. He's going to be the loyal Democrat, although to make it even more bizarre, he doesn't call himself a Democrat. He's a socialist, but he's a Democrat. He votes with the Democrats. Try to figure that one out. But he's going to be the loyal Hillary supporter, and they're going to beat up on Donald Trump. He's not going to utter the phrase rigged election, which I think he would love to do, but he's not going to. But his supporters out on the street, I think they've left Bernie. It's a movement without a leader, essentially. And they're actually yelling a chant. They were yesterday afternoon in Philadelphia, a few of them. The very chant at the Republican convention, lock her up. And when you hear Democrats say that, it's not good.
Are you convinced that Sanders is not going to say something? I mean, he has to.
I don't think he will.
If he doesn't, he has no credibility.
Well, you're right, but he'll play it pretty straight as much as he can with his language. He wants to go back to the U.S. Senate in a very high profile, and I think the Democrats have probably assured him of that. You be the good guy, and we'll make sure that you're going to be in our platform. They already have. He goes back to U.S. Senate. You'll have a big role, a much higher profile than ever before, and I think he's going to accept that. He knows he's not going to get the nomination, but his supporters may not vote for Hillary Clinton. In fact, they probably are going to stay home and not vote at all. They're not going to vote for Donald Trump, but they may vote for Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party or former Governor Gary Johnson of the Libertarian Party. And that's where some of those votes are going to go.
Well, I know. I mean, anecdotally, we've received some emails from Democrats that said there's no way in hell that I'm going to vote for Hillary, and they were suggesting going the libertarian way.
Right.
Is there any polling, though? I mean, to back up the claims that a number of Democrats are going to go that particular direction?
There really aren't at this point, but I bet you there will be. But it does look like that the Libertarians are gaining some voters, and it's hard to know how many. What they want is enough in the polls that they can get on the big stage in September at these debates. If they can do that, especially Governor Johnson, if he can get on the stage during these debates, that may prove a real issue. I've always believed that the Republicans would lose more with the Libertarians in there than the Democrats. But that may not be true anymore with a lot of these Bernie Sanders people going over to them. The whole thing is so illogical. How can a socialist vote for a libertarian except on one issue with young people, marijuana? The socialist wants to give them free education, and the libertarian wants to give them some marijuana. What a deal.
All right. Secondary question, and this has to do with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. At least rumors are floating out there that Hillary has hired her or is going to be using her for her campaign.
They have. She's going to be honorary chairman.
Okay. So, really, do you really think that Sanders won't mention anything about this?
I don't think he will. I think he may make some reference to it, but then he'll try to pass it off as something, but then he's going to argue we still have to unify behind Hillary Clinton to defeat Donald Trump. So his major theme is going to be unity, and I don't think he's going to criticize the Democratic Party at all.
Hard to believe. What do you think is going to come out of today's first day, the opening day of the DNC?
Well,
anything
Bernie
interesting?
Sanders is going to be the principal speaker this evening, and that'll be interesting. All during the week is just a litany of one big politician after another on the Democratic side. President Obama is going to speak during the week. Michelle Obama, the First Lady, is going to speak. Joe Biden, the Vice President, is going to speak. Al Gore is not going to be at the convention, which is sort of interesting. He had other obligations, which is sort of interesting when you think about it, because Republicans are pilloried for all the big-time Republicans that did not show up last week in Cleveland. Well, the same thing is happening with the Democrats this time around as well.
All right. Hey, Professor, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Al Gore may be stranded on an iceberg.
Yeah, out there with the polar bears.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good one, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Alan Sachs on the Wake Up Call, 735 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Off the email, real briefly here, the question is, this deals with Bernie, if he says something at the DNC convention, will he also come off as being whiny? Or will he rally throngs of entitled and ignorant sheep to some other end? Interesting. Anyway, it's 736 News Radio 1120 KPNW. All right, so one of the things that you may be thinking to yourself is, my carpet is looking mighty gnarly. What should I do about it? Well, it's funny that you asked that rhetorical question because I have an answer for you. Give a call to Zero Res. People keep asking this question, what do you mean when you say empowered water? Because that's what they use to clean carpets with. Well, it's kind of a fancy term for what really goes on, which is scientific stuff, but it comes down to they use an electrolysis process and literally electrify the water. And a number of years ago, actually, John Hopkins, the guy that created John Hopkins, discovered that if you forced electricity through water, what happens is it changes the pH of the water. And it actually allows it to lift stains, like almost kind of like bleach. So what they do at Zero Res is they use an electrolysis process with just plain old water, and it lifts stains. And as it is removed from the electrolysis process, it literally goes back to being inert, like normal water. So when it evaporates, it's just water evaporating. So your stains are lifted, and you don't have that gritty stuff that's left, like when you use a shampoo or other chemicals to clean your carpet. And that gritty stuff, by the way, after you've had your carpet cleaned, does nothing but attract more dirt. So Zero Res, if you're one of those folks that has sensitivities to chemicals or something like that, well, give them a call. 988-ZERO, that's 988-0541, of course, and you'll pay just $44 a room, and if you mention Bill London or KPNW, you know what they're going to do? They're going to give you a fourth room for free. You can look for them online at Zero Res Eugene, that's ZEROREZ, Zero Res.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Investors are cautious at the start of what will be a busy economic week. The Dow down 64 points, the Nasdaq down 3, and the S&P down 7 ahead of the start tomorrow of a two-day Fed meeting on interest rates. With no change expected, the market will be watching for any suggestions when a rate hike could come. Regulators still need to approve the deal, but Verizon confirms it is the winner in the bidding for Yahoo's core internet business. For $4.8 billion cash, Verizon will get the 21-year-old Yahoo's web operation and its 1 billion active monthly users, including its still popular email service. Maybe someday you'll be able to get a cricket burrito at Taco Bell. Chefs who cook with insects say more Americans are accepting them as food. The North American Edible Insect Coalition is planning a lobbying campaign to try to get the FDA to add insect products, including mealworms and cricket protein powder, to its safe ingredients list. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
When it comes to Honda power equipment at low prices, think Ramsey Waite. We have Honda lawnmowers on site, like the HRX 217 mower featuring the 4-in-1 Versamo system. Ramsey Waite has an extensive line of Honda generators, including the recreational, super quiet EU 2000i.
Don't just dream about it, wait for it.
Ramsey Waite Superstore.
Honda.
Open Monday through Saturday, Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood.
Check us out at RamseyWaite.com.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
It's Yodel Summer Days at Midgley's. Get $300 off the purchase of any Yodel wood or gas stove or fireplace insert in stock. Save up to an additional $1,000 in tax credits. That's up to $1,300 off a Yodel right now at Midgley's. Midgley's factory-trained installers provide professional installation. We're located at the corner of 7th and Chambers in Eugene. Yodel Summer Days at Midgley's. Anywhere else and you're just playing with fire. CCB 161946.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Increasing clouds with a low around 57. North-northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. A weak upper trough will develop near the coast through Monday and Tuesday, giving us that extra cloud coverage. Expect morning low clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine and warmer but seasonable afternoon temperatures. A stronger upper level will build for the second half of the week and bring inland highs well into the 90s.
The Wake Up Call.
To be honest, I've never seen such dysfunction.
With Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Always good to check in with our good friend from Serenity Lane, Jerry Jesvold, joining us.
Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning to you.
Hey, I just heard that you guys were described as dysfunctional. I don't think you're dysfunctional.
You obviously haven't listened to 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, that was a punchline to a joke. You got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So,
just teasing, of course.
Right. Train Wreck is our middle name.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like you guys so much.
Well, that's good. You've been on the show for...
it's been a while.
Pretty soon after we started, I think we started having you on.
Yeah, wasn't too far out.
We haven't scared you off yet.
Well, vice versa.
Jerry Jesvold, of course, serenitylane.org if you want to get some info as you're hearing the conversation. Say, you some time ago had predicted that there was going to be some legal challenges if with the marijuana becoming a main part of the really the workforce. If an employee was fired, there could be some it could get sticky.
Yes.
Has there been any cases where that has been either enforced, your idea, or are you just waiting?
Actually, it has. Lane County had a case late last year around Halloween, a gentleman had come to a training about 10 minutes late, and because it was Halloween, obviously they had some candy, and he grabbed a pretty large hand of candy before he went to his seat, I guess. And then during the break, an HR manager was walking by his desk, which his seat had his coat hanging on it, and smelled what she thought or he thought was the odor of marijuana. So they tested him. He did test positive. He had a medical marijuana card. The Oregon Supreme Court has told employers in the state of Oregon that they do not have to accommodate the medical use of marijuana. So they terminated him based on their policy. They have a zero-tolerance policy, which many employers have.
So just to be clear, the candy that he ingested, that was the culprit. That was that was.
Well, it was one of those, indicators that something's not right here or whatever. It was the odor of the marijuana in the jacket that, pushed it over the top in terms of having probable cause to test him. And then, of course, once the test was positive, they fulfilled the obligation of the policy or the wording of the policy, and they terminated him. Then the union filed a grievance, and it took about 6 months for the grievance to be heard, but the arbitrator overruled the county and told him to give him his job back and 6 months' pay, which was a little over $21,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and the county really had two things going in their favor. Number one, the Oregon Supreme Court ruling, obviously. But then number two, they received federal funds, and part of their duty is to meet the federal requirements, and the fear of losing those federal funds is another reason why they would have a zero tolerance as it relates to marijuana.
Precedent, here on out, how are we looking?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's certainly a documented case in which at least one arbitrator is saying, they overstepped their bounds and the penalty was too severe. And the two grounds for his making that decision, at least as it was explained in the media, number one, he hadn't used it on the job, and number two, there was no evidence that he was impaired. And those were the two things that we've talked about in the past that I would have a concern about, because unlike alcohol, there's no evidence-based, science-based evidence that would justify that severe a penalty unless they can prove impairment.
What was his job exactly?
He was in IT, so it wasn't a high-risk job by any means. He was not running a backhoe or driving a truck or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which again increases the sensitivity on the part of the county in terms of what they're going to allow. Just because there's no science-based evidence that would indicate that he's not impaired, or an individual like him is not impaired, there's no evidence that would indicate that he may not be too.
Right.
Is that one of the lone cases, or
that's the one that I'm aware of so far? The other thing that has come down about 4 months ago, Johns Hopkins University Medical School released the results of a study that they had been doing, and the results of which found two things. Because of the intensity of the marijuana today, the old argument was, when we'd hear it all the time when somebody tests positive, well, I was in a car, I was in a room, and I inhaled some of the marijuana smoke that somebody else was smoking. Well, all the science-based evidence had indicated that was categorically impossible to do. What Johns Hopkins University Medical School found was that because of the intensity of the marijuana today, the passive inhalation can produce a mild contact high. But more importantly, there were cases in which participants did test positive and hadn't actually smoked the marijuana. So that's another thing that I've not seen anything yet that, in terms of a challenge to a termination that would, bring that up. But sooner or later, somebody's going to, find it and use it as a defense.
Are you kind of surprised that we haven't seen more cases at work where, now people, it's kind of mainstream. I know I don't smell on a regular basis, but you're out there and about there. It's going to kind of open floodgates.
I'm hearing you. There is definitely more marijuana use going on, and more openly marijuana use going on because of the law change. And most employers are at least presenting a zero tolerance that they're not going to tolerate it. But there haven't been, a lot of challenges or any challenges besides the Lane County one that I'm aware of in Oregon. But part of that's due to the fact that employers are kind of turning a blind eye. They're not really aggressively, trying to find it either. There's several employers that I've worked with over the years that used to do random drug testing and don't anymore. Or the other thing they'll sometimes do is decide to take the THC or the marijuana out of their testing panel.
Did they voice to you why they're not doing that anymore? Why they're not testing?
They don't want to know. I mean, basically they have had key employees that are not producing or not demonstrating any behavioral problems, and they're coming to work, and that's hard enough to find. Today somebody will come to work every day and give you a day's work for a day's pay.
Talking to Jerry Jesville with Serenity Lane. I'm curious with this, and we've kind of touched on this before, but maybe with further conversations and research on your part, maybe have a more a different layer to the answer. For the conversation, if you've got parents or teachers talking to the 15, the 16, the 17-year-old about trying to stay drug-free and to stay on track, with this complication to the conversation, how do you what do you combat with as far as them saying, hey, it's legal?
There's that piece. It's not for a 15, 16-year-old, but it is becoming more difficult because it's becoming more commonplace within our society. I've said before, this November is going to be a very interesting time because there's about 11 or 12 states that are going to have it on their ballot, and if we get 2 out of 12 that pass it, that's one thing. But if we get 12 out of 12, which conceivably it could happen, that's a place where we're going to be hitting a critical mass. And the feds, the other thing that is currently being discussed back in Washington is changing marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 2 drug, which means that it has recognized medical use. And so then all of a sudden there's a whole new set of rules that come into play. And the one thing, Rob, about the teenagers today, parents need to be careful and cautious and watching for the possibility of them, these vaping pens or vaping products that are sold, and the kids, the butane honey oil, they're smoking the butane honey oil in the vape pens. It's called dabbing, and the concentration of THC in that product is anywhere from 70 to 95%. And the other thing, the reason the kids are doing it is because it doesn't smell like marijuana. It doesn't have an odor at all. That coupled with, in January, the edibles that'll be coming out, and it makes a much more difficult thing to manage as it relates to adolescents and their curiosity.
All right, so what should then, parents say to their kids?
Well, I think they should be upfront and honest. I mean, we are starting, Bill, to see cases of 18, 19-year-old young people by my means, that have been vaping butane honey oil, and they are really messed up. I mean, their brains develop till age 25. And THC, has been demonstrated through, again, the studies to show that it can have an adverse impact on the development of the adolescent brain, and can create some behavioral aberrations that take on very much the paranoid schizophrenic condition. And we're starting to see it. I mean, it's only been, a little over a year now since it's been legal here in Oregon, and we're already starting to see the residue of that.
SerenityLane.org, the website, and of course, if you is it easily navigated to your blog if they
if they go there and then just click on, there's a spot that indicates the blog, and then once you go in there's numerous articles on various aspects of what's going on out there today.
Good stuff. Jerry, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Bill. You guys take care. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too. 7:53 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Built for business. In business, time is money. In business, money is also money. No wonder nearly 1,000 businesses choose Comcast Business Internet over DSL from the phone company every single day. Not only is it up to 5 times faster, It's actually a better value when you go with the fastest plan. So take a minute out of your busy schedule and call Comcast Business. It will be well worth your time and your money.
Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add voice and TV for just $34.90 a month. And ask about our 2-year price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 8/31/16. Restrictions apply. Limited to one voice line and private view TV for new customers. 2-year contract required. Requires Comcast Business Internet and an additional monthly charge. Equipment, taxes, and fees, including broadcast TV fee extra. Savings claim based on cost per megabits per second. Compares Comcast 100 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second DSL downloads.
If diets and diet products keep failing to flatten your belly, it may not be a diet product you need. You may need Somabiotics, the shockingly effective breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of waste from your body. Right now, you can find out for free how much flatter Somabiotics will make your belly, because they're currently giving away free trials to the public. For yours, call 1-800-600-6516. Strict limit of 1 per household. Somabiotics is not a diet product. It's scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to cleanse your system, flatten bloated bellies, and combat periodic heartburn and acid reflux. If your belly flattening results are too dramatic, simply reduce use to every other day. If diets keep failing to flatten your belly, it may not be a diet you need. It may be Somabiotics. Call now for your free trial and see how much flatter it makes your belly. 1-800-600-6516. Hurry. Call now for details while they're still giving trials away for free. 1-800-600-6516. That's 1-800-600-6516.
Jim Olson with Olson's Auto Glass.
I'm the third generation to run the business. Started in 1938 by my grandfather, E. Olson. What defines us, separates us, is, I think, the quality of our work. We strive for excellence in every car we do. We try to use the best quality products available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, all that sort of thing. We can do the glass in all of them. That's our main focus, is auto glass and safety of the vehicle. Our website is olsonsautoglass.com. Our address is 2041 West 7th Avenue. Phone number is 541-342-7773.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
A Budweiser, America, and Florida-Georgia line.
I still remember our first big show. Budweiser's in the air, and hearing the crowd sing our song.
That's when it really feels like America is in our hands.
And when I'm holding an ice cold Budweiser that says America on the front.
That too. Cheers.
This Bud's for you.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Lane County's most prestigious builders showcase their best during the 31st Annual Tour of Homes, presented by Jerry's Home Improvement Centers, Umpqua Bank, and Ramjack West. This year's tour is on now in a neighborhood near you and features 14 homes in a variety of price ranges. You'll see the latest in design, construction, and decorating. Go to tourofhomes.com for information. The 31st Annual Tour of Homes is brought to you by the Register Guard, NBC 16, Northwest Natural, and News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is your wake-up call.
Bring it down a couple of notches, because you're a little too happy.
Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120. KPNW.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. If you think we're running out of oil and that renewables will soon take over as a natural progression, better think again. A new study by Rystad Energy looked at 60,000 oil fields worldwide and suggests that at today's rate of production, about 30 billion barrels annually, we have enough reserves to last 70 years. That doesn't include any increased recovery due to advances in technology, the reason the U.S. went from deficit to surplus as fracking was developed and the oil trapped in shale became readily available. It also might surprise you to know that the country with the largest reserves now actually is the United States, with 264 billion barrels, followed by Russia with 256 billion and Saudi Arabia with 212. Keep in mind that this is oil and does not include natural gas, which is probably even more abundant. Here's the nugget. Both Russia and Saudi Arabia are highly dependent on oil exports to keep their economies lubricated and the countries from flying apart. For the geopolitical balance of power, lower oil prices are good for both consumers and our national interest. But $50 oil does provide stiff competition for any renewables and is likely to add a decade or more to the eventual transition away from hydrocarbons. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Caution on Wall Street after more gains last week. The Dow down 85 points, the Nasdaq down 7, and the S&P down 9, at the start of a week that will see a two-day Fed meeting on interest rates. We knew it was coming, but now Verizon is announcing its $4.8 billion cash deal for Yahoo's web business. Yahoo will be integrated with Verizon's AOL, which it acquired just over a year ago. Combined, AOL and Yahoo will have more than 25 brands. Yahoo Email globally has approximately 225 million monthly active users. Ahead of the rollout of its mass appeal Model 3, Tesla is getting serious about its new battery factory. The Wall Street Journal reports the electric car company has doubled the amount of people constructing the $5 billion gigafactory near Reno, Nevada, to more than 1,000. It hopes to start making lithium-ion cells there by early next year. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg
Fox
Radio.
News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's the Democrats' turn.
Our party is coming together here to unify, to elect Hillary Clinton and defeat Donald Trump. And that's what you're going to see today.
Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook, but so far it's been all about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We heard a lot of boos among the cheers, even a chant of shame hours before the Democratic convention starts. Fox's Tanya J. Powers live in Philadelphia.
Dave, the outgoing chairman of the DNC tried to carry on with her message, but it was shouted down at the Florida breakfast.
The voices in this room that are standing up and being disruptive, we know that that's not the Florida that we know.
They're upset at an email leak that suggests the DNC favored Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in the primary. That email flap has a lot of Sanders supporters unhappy, and they're heading out into the heat to show it. City officials expect tens of thousands of protesters to march in temps that could reach near 100 today, Dave.
Tanya, new CNN NORC poll gives Donald Trump a bit of a bounce out of the Republican convention, leading Hillary Clinton 48 to 45%. It's not terrorism. That's what police say in Fort Myers, Florida. About the after-midnight shooting outside a nightclub, 2 teenagers were killed, 16 other people wounded.
Law enforcement says it appears to be gang-related. Club Blue was throwing a Sunday night teen party billed as a swimsuit glow party. Around midnight, as the teenagers were pouring outside into the parking lot, waiting for their parents to pick them up, dozens of bullets started flying and chaos erupted with kids running and dodging bullets.
Fox's Phil Keating in Fort Myers. ISIS is taking credit for the attack outside a German music festival. The bomber only killed himself but injured 15. A wildfire whipped back up by winds north of Los Angeles has 10,000 homes under an evacuation order.
We do ask that they leave. It's safer that we get in there and we're able to save these homes.
Chris Reed with the LA County Fire Department. 18 houses have burned down. 1 person died. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
Have you heard about Neurospine Institute's movement therapy program? Based upon the traditional Chinese practice of Tai Chi, this therapeutic process can help you achieve a more balanced state of mind and body. Tai Chi is an ancient martial art that can be practiced for a variety of health benefits. It promotes effective healing, improved relaxation, and stronger resistance to illness or injury. Meditation and yoga classes are also available. Visit neurospinellc.org for the current schedule of movement therapy programs.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg Clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
Another Texas police officer has been murdered. It happened early this morning, and Fox's Jeff Manasso is on the case live.
Dave, the body of Sergeant Craig Hutchinson was found in the backyard of his home in Round Rock, Texas. That's just north of Austin, after Hutchinson apparently called fellow officers for help just before 1:30 this morning after apparently seeing burglars in his backyard.
Where I guess our officer came up on them and found that seen individuals in a shed, and I think that's when the confrontation occurred.
Travis County Sheriff Craig Hamilton says the investigation is ongoing. No arrests. Sergeant Hutchinson, a 32-year police veteran, was set to retire in September. Dave.
Jeff, the funeral is next hour in Louisiana for the third of 3 law enforcement officers murdered in Baton Rouge by an angry black gunman who targeted police, much like the killer in Dallas who murdered 5 cops there. The slain officer, Montrell Jackson, had posted on Facebook just days earlier how difficult it was for him to be a black cop. Days after a suicide bombing killed 80 people in Afghanistan, a new report shows a lot of kids have been dying there this year.
The United Nations mission in Afghanistan says the number of children killed or wounded during conflict in the country has surged compared to the same time last year. UNAMA says 1/3 of the casualties from January 1st through June 13th of this year were children. 388 were killed and 1,121 wounded. That's an 18% increase. The Taliban previously used hit-and-run tactics and remotely detonated explosives. Now the insurgents engage in gun battles with government troops and deliberately target civilian homes and schools. In the Mideast Bureau, Jessica Gallagher, Fox News.
It's now 7 Russian swimmers who will not be able to go to the Olympics because of doping. This on top of the track and field team being not allowed because of a doping scandal. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 98 points. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
.1120 KPNW, Monday, July 25. Welcome in. Eventually sunshine and warm. 89 for the top temp. Clear and 58 overnight. 93 degrees Wednesday to 97, 98 coming up on Friday. So a little bit of a heat wave just in time for the weekend where it cools off. Wow. Boy, to hear that at one time, because you're thinking Yahoo was it for a while, that it was worth over $120 billion, and that they were able to Verizon get it for just over 4.83. I guess, in this day and age, if you look at what Google does and continues to do, Facebook always pushing. How did Yahoo? I mean, when they had the stranglehold on basically the market and let everybody else get in and just pretty much surpass them, wow. Pretty good deal for Verizon all the way around. 541-485 KPNW, 888 KPNW, 888, getting quite a bit of email traction on a number of things. Of course, a lot of communication and response. Getting ready for the big DNC. I have no idea. I guess they thought it would be a bigger distraction. Why they have Wasserman still a conversation piece? How? I mean, because basically she's going to be taking attention off Hillary. Why would you even let her hang out in the building?
Well, I think it shows one thing, that Hillary Clinton really could care less about Bernie Sanders supporters, that she believes that obviously Wasserman has some sort of number one, cachet, and secondly, ability to help get her elected. She's going to do whatever it takes. I mean, both of them are.
Why wouldn't you?
When I say both of them, I mean Trump and Hillary. They're both going to do every single thing they can to get elected. And if Hillary believes that Wasserman is going to be the person to help push her over the top, she can give a crap about Bernie supporters, because she believes, like so many other politicians do, that voters have short memories, that they're ignorant, that they don't remember, and that they're going to forget by the time that they get to November. Their plan is, and you saw it with the announcement of her running mate, is that they are going to spend their time demonizing Donald Trump. And if they can make him the bigger demon than Hillary, Wasserman Schultz is an afterthought.
But still involved in the Hillary camp.
Like I said,
Which
it doesn't make any difference as long the goal is winning.
Right.
That's the goal.
Right.
And as far as they've triangulated it, I'm sure, and they figure that whatever negatives that she has, she outweighs with the positives. And in 2 weeks, nobody's going to remember the convention. I mean, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, nobody's going to remember who it was that spoke at the Republican National Convention or what a great job that Donald, Jr. did up there on stage. They're not even going to think about that. And
most people,
short of people blowing stuff up and turning it into a major riot in Philadelphia, and when I say riot, I'm thinking 1968 style. Short of that, they know that people are going to forget it or believe that they are. That's long and short. And that they'll look at it and go, oh, gosh, I guess if I don't vote for Hillary, then Trump's going to get elected, and I can't have that happen.
Could be a misstep. You never know. All right, news coming up. Stand by. It's 11:20 KPNW 809.
The summer season is officially here, as is the "it's too hot, I don't want to cook right now" season. The latter season really fluctuates depending on access or desire to a barbecue, whether the house is air conditioned, and the ambient air temperature overall. When the temperature hits "I don't want to cook," head to Burrito Amigos. Burrito Amigos has great food for hot summer weather, and all of their sit-down restaurants have air conditioning. Baja shrimp burritos and Baja tacos really hit the summer spot. And a couple of people can share one of Burrito Amigos' regular-sized taco salads. They're huge and just right for a hot day or humid sweltering evening. For the vegetarian, the Yummy Soft Taco hits the spot with yams, cabbage, beans, pumpkin seeds, and Burrito Amigos' special recipe spicy avocado sauce. And if it's too hot to cook, it's just the right temperature for Burrito Amigos to do the cooking. Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones in Eugene and Springfield. I'm Bill London, and I think it's starting to feel a little muggy.
Summer is sizzling, and so are the prices at SM Gun Shop. For the month of July, SM Gun Shop is having their big summer sale. Save up to 25% off on hunting rifle ammo, and don't forget your reloading supplies. SM Gun Shop on River Road in Eugene since 1980.
Get instant cash back at Discount Windows.
Discount Windows is working with Energy Trust of Oregon to help you reduce energy costs and improve the comfort of your home.
Don't wait 6 to 8 weeks for a check. Make your project more affordable right now with instant savings.
We've handed out over $20,000 in instant cash incentives in just 5 months. Instant savings at Discount Windows.
Highway 99 in Junction City.
Open 7 days a week.
Instant cash incentives applies to windows installed by Discount Windows. TCB 180018.
You would never forget your home address, would you? Well, no need to forget ours. Just lock it in at 1120 on your AM radio band. Depend on us. News Radio 1120 KPNW. Now, this morning's wake-up call with the latest news from the Northwest and your neighborhood. On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. So, here's what's going on. The Lane County Sheriff's Office, along with OSP, Junction City Police, and the Lynn County Sheriff's Office, responded to a call of shots fired in Junction City Sunday night. Shortly before 7 p.m., 2 Junction City officers were patrolling near 10th Avenue in Greenwood when they heard what they thought was a gunshot directly in front of them and believed that they were being fired at. They called for assistance, and officers from a variety of departments responded. Lane County deputies sent out an alert to neighbors in the area to stay in their homes as law enforcement officers performed welfare checks on neighbors in the area, many of whom reported what they heard, which was something like a gunshot or an explosion. Eventually, investigators located evidence on Greenwood between 9th and 10th of what is believed to have been an explosion. No injuries were reported. The case is under investigation. Police have arrested the stepfather of a 4-year-old boy found wandering Main Street alone Sunday morning. Kyle Ray Rowe was arrested and lodged at the Springfield jail on a child neglect charge. Springfield police said that two Good Samaritans found the child wandering around at 9:30 in the morning on the 2400 block of Main Street without a shirt or without shoes. Police said they searched the area for 90 minutes for the parents. They were unable to locate them. Then around 4:30 in the afternoon, 7 hours after police found the child, police said they were contacted by the parents of the unidentified boy to report him missing. They allegedly told police that the child disappeared for about 3 hours while Roe was taking a nap. Police would like the public to be aware of a burglary trend in the Eugene Southeast Hills. They've investigated two different burglaries that had the same MOs.
The MOs were that the suspects got into the victim's vehicles and used the garage door openers. They then got into the garages and homes, and the victims were actually in the house sleeping, and they got burglarized, and they woke up to find that they had been burglarized.
Melinda McLaughlin with EPD says what's disturbing is that in both cases, the suspects did the burglaries while the victims were home and sleeping. The burglaries occurred sometime after 11 p.m. on July 20th. EPD suggests always keep your doors locked and don't leave your garage door openers in your vehicle if your vehicle is not parked in your garage. A 21-year-old woman reported being raped by 5 men early Sunday at a reggae festival in Scio. According to the Lynn County Sheriff's Office, deputies learned that the woman was at the Silver Dollar Tavern in Scio Saturday night when she was approached by 2 men. Deputies were told by the woman that she drank alcohol with the 2 men and around 1 a.m. agreed to go with them to the reggae festival. The woman reported that the 2 men, along with 3 others, then raped her. She was later treated and released from Santiam Hospital in Staten. The victim said she didn't know the assailants and believes they're from Washington State. She described them as black males in their late 20s or 30s. They're believed to be driving a rental motorhome with an unknown Washington license plate. The motorhome is described as having a vinyl wrap with a picture of a large dog and an unknown 800 number on the side of it. Yet another baby has been born with Zika-related birth defects, this time in New York City. Brad Ford says Oregon officials have some advice for travelers ahead of the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Brazil.
It begins with a warning for pregnant women.
We're advising that they not go at all.
The Oregon Health Authorities, Dr. Paul Cieslak, advises others to prevent the Zika infection during and after travel to Rio de Janeiro. Zika is usually spread by mosquitoes, so protect yourself from bites on the trip. It can also spread sexually. Women should delay pregnancy for 8 weeks after travel or after symptoms start.
And that men avoid sex or take steps to prevent spreading the infection sexually for 8 weeks after travel, even if you haven't had any symptoms.
If you have had symptoms, take those steps for 6 months. Zika is spreading through Latin America, the Caribbean, and parts of the South Pacific. Brad Ford, KPNW News.
There are mosquitoes known to carry the Zika virus in the U.S., but none of those, at least at this point, are in Oregon. Well, a pair of state programs that helped Oregon homeowners avoid foreclosure or get caught up on their mortgages in the wake of the Great Recession are being revived thanks to federal funding. The U.S. Treasury awarded Oregon a pair of grants this year totaling $94.5 million for the home rescue and loan preservation assistance programs. The grants were issued from the government's Hardest Hit Fund, which was created to help 18 states and the District of Columbia. The home rescue program, which provides homeowners up to 12 monthly mortgage payments or $20,000, is accepting applications. The loan program starts back up in September, and it gives qualified homeowners up to $40,000 to make a delinquent mortgage current. Oregon Housing and Community Services spokesman Mike Boyer says about 14,000 homeowners in Oregon are at least 90 days behind on their mortgages. 3 ballot initiatives that would have restricted clear-cutting and aerial spraying in Oregon failed to qualify for the November general election. Steve Paderi, a chief petitioner for all 3 proposals and conservation director for Oregon Wild Environmental, says opponents were pretty much able to stop them cold.
Trying to delay the process as long as possible. They took it all the way to the state Supreme Court. They lost every round, but they did succeed in delaying things. We didn't get a final ruling from the state Supreme Court on the aerial spray measure until about a week before the deadline, and we're still waiting a ruling on the steep slope logging measure.
One of the petitions, which would have imposed new limits on aerial pesticide applications, was able to get the Supreme Court's approval for its ballot title language, but they didn't have enough time to collect the 88,000 signatures that needed to be validated by the July 8th deadline. The state's highest court has yet to rule on a ballot title for another petition dealing with aerial spraying and logging in landslide-prone areas. A third petition to prohibit clear-cut timber harvest was withdrawn due to legal complications involving forest land property value laws. No word on if any of these potential measures will ever resurface. Oregon's bottle bill redemption value is going up. Brad Ford reports.
The amount of money you get for returning water, soda, and beer containers will double next year.
Going to go from 5 cents per container up to 10 cents per container.
The Oregon Liquor Control Commission's Christy Scott says people's recycling habits seem to have changed.
They may be recycling, but they're recycling at their curbside and not taking them back to the store or to a redemption center.
State law says if the bottle return rate drops below 80% for 2 consecutive years, the redemption value goes up. Redemption rates were below 70% for 2014 and 2015. The change takes effect next April. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
The OLCC, by the way, enforces Oregon's bottle bill, which was enacted in 1971. It was the first type of bill of its kind in the nation. A proposed campaign in Bend is going to be encouraging people to donate to charity instead of panhandlers. A group under the city's Downtown Livability Committee determined that there was more success in promoting donations than increasing enforcement and citations. Bend Police Chief Jim Porter and the rest of the group told the council last week that money goes further when donated to organizations that help the homeless. Family Kitchen Development Director Donna Burklow was on the committee and said panhandlers typically use the money to feed their addictions for booze or drugs. She said that to move the campaign forward, a company needed to be hired to develop a marketing plan and slogan. Options include donation stations and giving via text message. The group estimates over 2,000 people are homeless in Central Oregon. Well, the Oregonian is asking a state judge for a temporary restraining order to keep the Grant County Sheriff from deleting his governmental emails. They say Sheriff Glenn Palmer systematically destroys his official emails in a potentially criminal practice that needs to be stopped. Portland lawyer Charles Hinkle says Palmer deletes every email that he sends or receives to the email address that's posted on the sheriff's office website. Hinkle says the sheriff continued to delete them even after receiving a public records request for them. A hearing on the restraining order has been scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow morning in Grant County Circuit Court. Speaking of Eastern Oregon, fire crews continue to make progress battling a wildfire 9 miles northwest of Condon. The blaze is burning in BLM land and also on Gilliam County protected lands. The fire grew 9% overnight. It's about 8 square miles in size. That fire at one point came within about 200 feet of Highway 206. It's burning in mostly light grassy fuels. The Central Oregon Fire Information Center says it's 55% contained. They hope to have it 100% contained by early this evening. The second suspect in the murder of a couple in Washington has been found in Mexico. Brad Ford has the story.
53-year-old John Reed was wanted in connection with the murder of Patrick Shun and his wife Monique Patnow near Oso, Washington. They were allegedly killed over a property dispute. Investigators believe that Tony and John Reed, who were brothers, fled to Mexico. Tony Reed turned himself in last month and led detectives to the couple's gravesite, which was in the same ravine where their vehicles were found crashed. John Reed was arrested by police in Sonora, Mexico. He was sent out of the country for violating immigration laws and arrested at the border. He has been on the run since April. Brad Ford, KPNW.
The Oregon Brewers Festival in Portland is going to have a greater international preference this year. Festival director Art Lawrence says they have craft brewers from the Netherlands, Germany, China, even Japan that are going to be on hand.
These people are going out and they're brewing great beers, and we want to spread the word by getting them over here so they can see our beers.
There's a wide variety of beer styles from the 80 breweries at the festival. They include some that are non-traditional, like chili-flavored, herb-flavored, and mint julep. The festival runs Wednesday through Sunday. And finally, I think we can all agree that homemade water slides equal epic failure. David Salmon of Dallas, Texas, is the latest example. He and his friends rented a house, and so they decided, hey, let's build a giant water slide out back. Once they got it set up, David couldn't wait to give it a go. He said he'd gone down a couple of times, and it was pretty fast. But this final time he went down, he couldn't slow down, and so he threw his arm out and went right over the edge. For a split second, David said he thought, oh no. And then he felt a hard crash, and then the rest of the trip became blurry. Salmon broke his arm, fractured his ribs, scraped his lower back, shoulders, and side while careening down a rocky hillside. He'll survive. It's 8:23. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So, soccer came and went yesterday at Autzen Stadium. If you want to see what kind of impact it had compared to a Saturday, say in the fall, check out our Facebook page. As far as the game was concerned, Sergei Aurier scored twice for Paris Saint-Germain, and Inter Milan falls 3-1. The FUT Bowl experiment might be short-lived. Only roughly over 24,000 fans in the stands. Cooperstown has 2 more mugs in the hall. The most voted for player ever, Ken Griffey Jr., inducted, the number 1 pick from the 87 draft. Played for the Mariners, the White Sox, and the Reds. Jr. talked about Dad Sr.
I was born 5 months after his senior year, and he made a decision to play baseball to provide for his family. That's what men do.
Mike Piazza took a remarkably different path as he was selected in the 62nd round and was playing first base when he was able to latch on to the LA Dodgers as a favor from his dad to Tommy Lasorda. Piazza talks about his trip to the Hall.
The only way I ever thought I would be here with you is if I bought a ticket. It is a testament to our great country and game that dreams can come true.
Russia will be represented after all. The IOC says no to the track and field team, but will allow the rest of the team to compete in Rio as long as they haven't been caught juicing already. The whole hubbub started after it was discovered that there was a state-sponsored doping program. Question remains what kind of distraction it will be for the athletes. The games, days away, August 5th. By the way, the U.S. men's basketball team seemed to be firing on all cylinders. They did in Argentina, 111-74. They haven't lost in 10 games. Abs have won 5 in a row last night in Vancouver, BC. They beat the Canadiens 5-3. Eugene has won 10 of its last 11 games. They're on fire. And a sad note out of Wisconsin, Nebraska punter Sam Foltz and former Michigan State punter Mike Sadler died in a car crash coming home from a kicking clinic. LSU kicker Colby De La Houssaye was also in the car, injured, but should make a full recovery. Nebraska coach Mike Riley said he expected the tragedy to bring the team together, and they'll do their best to honor Sam every day. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can always try before you buy. On Franklin, across from Market of Choice. News time, 8:26.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Increasing clouds with a low around 57. North-northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. A weak upper trough will develop near the coast through Monday and Tuesday, giving us that extra cloud coverage. Expect morning low clouds giving way to afternoon sunshine and warmer but seasonable afternoon temperatures. A stronger upper level will build for the second half of the week and bring inland highs well into the 90s.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
When it comes to Honda power equipment at low prices, think Ramsey Wade. We have Honda lawnmowers on site, like the HRX 217 mower, featuring the 4-in-1 Versamo system. Ramsey Wade has an extensive line of Honda generators, including the recreational, super quiet EU 2000i.
Don't just dream about it, wait for it.
Ramsey Wade Superstore.
Honda.
Open Monday through Saturday, Franklin Boulevard, Glenwood.
Check us out at RamseyWade.com.
The RV Corral is having a huge sale on new and used toy haulers. New Shockwave toy hauler trailers starting at $39,995. Each model has unique features with a large amount of storage. RV Corral is also having a big sale on new Fusion Impact fifth wheels starting at $54,995. See these and more at the RV Corral, Eugene's destination for 28 years for sales and service. Just 1 mile south of the Beltline on Highway 99 or RVCorral.com. Shockwave stock number NT1321 and Fusion Impact stock NF741.
Are you ready for the new flavors of Max Pro? Peanut butter chocolate, cookies and cream, orange, and s'mores is coming soon. High protein, low carbs, no sugar. Try before you buy. Max Muscle on Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Bike down to the ballpark when the M's return Tuesday, the 26th. Enter to win giveaways from Burley and Performance Bike. The 27th, Kids Eat Free. Wednesday on Zombie Night at PK Park. Then keep it real on Old School Hip Hop Night. /$3 Thursday, presented by Pabst Blue Ribbon. Details at emeraldsbaseball.com.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just 1 drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-400-7415. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let 1 drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-400-7415. That's 1-800-400-7415.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Now,
ladies and gentlemen,
the Wake-Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
1120 KPNW. Welcome into a Monday, today, July 25th. Sunny, eventually. Clouds caught up with the coast. Checking out things in the Sixer when we're starting to see that sunrise here. It tried for a bit, and I was checking, okay, what does it look like on the Oregon coast? And it was equally, well, now, as dark and ominous, especially down like in Newport and Waldport, down in Lincoln City. But we've caught up. But don't give up hope. Don't throw in the towel for the entire day, because we got sunshine expected. And you might be longing for a couple of clouds later in the week. Currently 61 degrees at 1120 KPNW. So I thought, since we had a second, I thought about talking about fender benders and crashes, accidents, whatever you want to call them, because just like, having somebody in your house or other things where all of a sudden you're kind of in shock and you're not realizing really what's going on. I'm reminded of a conversation. I think it was either the mom or a girlfriend of a buddy who was talking about this crash that had happened, and she was so kind of in shock and not in her right mind that she let the guy who was at fault pretty much kind of dictate everything and kind of hemmed her into saying that it was her fault, gave erroneous information, and scooted out, drove off. And before she even realized kind of what had happened, she was kind of stuck. And I think if you get somebody who's in that situation, that right there, before anybody takes off, if somebody is kind of manipulating you, or you feel like not acting forthright, that's when cops definitely need to be called. But if it depends on what state. I don't know what the situation here is in Oregon, but you only need to file a report. Generally, it says here, if there's an injury or more than $1,000 in damage. And like I said,
so in other words, if somebody scratches the paint on your car, you need to call the police. Any more with the costs of repairs on vehicles, just about anything is $1,000 is somebody sneezes on your car.
Drop in the bucket. Number one, apparently, if there is a crash, you need to make sure that everybody's okay before you check out damage. And that goes to, and they made a good point here in the article, that makes you a part of that list, because you might be so jumped up on adrenaline that you might not realize that you have a gash or, potential concussion. And a biggie here that you hear people talk about, don't admit that it was your fault. Apparently, even saying you're sorry or apologizing can open up a liability issue if the person sues you. Make sure they're okay, exchange information, call a tow truck if needed, and let the insurance deal with the rest. But just be careful of what you say, because like what happened in the case before, she wasn't at fault. And apparently, if you were to talk to her a week after the fact, she was PO'd. She was upset and would handle things remarkably different. Another good thing to do is, everybody's got a photo taking device, a camera on their phone. Take pictures, and not just of your car, but of the whole situation, because you can see maybe skid marks that will affect the outcome. A half-eaten sandwich or something in their car might dictate kind of what had happened. Get the insurance companies, it says here, involved as soon as possible. If you think it was your fault, call your insurance and be honest about it. If it wasn't your fault, call their insurance company so they won't try to get out of it with some manipulation. It is a terrible, and if you haven't been in a crash in a while, you're kind of in a fog. You're kind of walking around and not thinking like you should be. So if you can kind of go through the scenario, hopefully there is no crash. But as crazy as people drive today, it's possible, especially with all the people on the roads during the summer months.
I don't know. In some cases, I won't call it a rebuttal, but depending on the situation and depending on a person's insurance and depending on other issues, sometimes it might even be worth it just to go, can we just agree to just nobody says anything about this to anybody and we deal with it on our own? Sometimes that works too, as opposed to going through the insurance company, because the way that things are now, you go to file an accident claim, in particular, if it's your fault, that's right, they go through the roof. So, there is something to be said for quietly negotiating your way out.
I guess the default is to be able to recognize, and who of us are experts, when that situation should, because the worst thing you want to do is try to do that and realize, there's some definite, health issues or things that you find out after the case. But yeah,
Agreed.
if you can find that middle ground and just make sure that you're covered. But it sucks. It's such, and a lot of times it didn't have to be, and you're kicking yourself or wondering why that person took that turn. Scary situation in some cases where you're sitting there going, what a waste of time, but it does happen. 1120kpnw at gmail.com if you've got a situation that has happened or anything that you want to share on your behalf. All right, stand by. It's 1120 KPNW, cloudy and 62 degrees.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are posting moderate losses. The Dow down 99 points, the Nasdaq down 9, and the S&P down 10. Stocks are retreating along with oil as Wall Street awaits this week's Fed meeting, which starts tomorrow and will end with a statement on interest rates on Wednesday. Crude futures are down 2% to just over $43 a barrel. Verizon has agreed to buy Yahoo's web assets for just under $5 billion, ending its two-decade run as an independent business. The deal also ends the four-year turnaround effort of CEO Marissa Mayer, which included spending billions of dollars on acquisitions. Mayer says in an online post that she plans to stay and see Yahoo into its next chapter. Some of America's hardest-hit factory towns may be making a comeback. USA Today crunched the numbers and found 7 of the 10 metro areas with the highest concentrations of manufacturing jobs had jobless rates below the national average in May. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Jim Olson with Olson's Auto Glass.
I'm the third generation to run the business, started in 1938 by my grandfather, Emil Olson. What defines us, separates us, is I think the quality of our work. We strive for excellence in every car we do. We try to use the best quality products available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, all that sort of thing. We can do the glass in all of them. That's our main focus is auto glass and safety of the vehicle. Our website is olsonsautoglass.com. Our address is 2041 West 7th Avenue. Phone number is 541-342-7773.
Okay, ready?
Holloway in London.
Okay.
And the wake-up call.
I've got good news.
News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Well, in this world of almost designer drugs, a growing number of researchers and doctors are beginning to question this whole idea of this drug-oriented society and a drug for every problem. One of those would be Dr. Rodney Dietert. He is a PhD. He is the author of the book, The Human Superorganism, and he joins us this morning on the Wake Up Call. Doc, thanks for being with us this morning.
No, thank you for having me on the show.
All right, and you're a professor of immunotoxicology at Cornell in Ithaca, New York. What exactly, I mean, for folks that are wondering what exactly does that mean, what does that mean?
It means I study how to protect the immune system.
All right.
And the focus has been on children, early life, and regardless of whether that's food, environmental chemicals, or drugs.
All right. So the book, The Human Superorganism, How the Microbiome is Revolutionizing the Pursuit of a Healthy Life. Let's start with a definition. What is a microbiome?
The microbiome is the collection of microbes, that's bacteria, something called archaea, viruses, fungi, parasites that live on our skin and in our body, in our gut, in our nose, our airways, our mouth, in our lungs, in our urogenital tract. And that's their residence. They reside there. And those are also the locations in our body that are exposed to the external environment. So by living there, the microbes actually serve as a type of gatekeeper or filter for everything we're exposed to, whether it's a food, a drug, or an environmental chemical.
Okay, but not all of them are necessarily, well, good for us, correct? But many of them are.
No, that's true. That's true. There are some that would take advantage of the situation. There are some that are not necessarily going to bring us good health. But it turns out that the miracle drugs and the technological approaches that were so wonderful for getting us out of a lot of problems in the 20th century unintentionally created a situation where we kind of had the orientation, we want to be a more highly purified species. We want to sanitize ourselves, and we want to be free of these microbes. And it turns out the reality is we can't live without them and be healthy.
And you actually take a look at a number of diseases that you kind of believe, I guess, or at least research shows, have been caused by this desire to eliminate all bacteria, all virus, all of these microorganisms. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So these are what we used to call chronic diseases, now known as non-communicable diseases, or NCDs. And these are, they used to exist, but they didn't exist in anywhere near the numbers that they do now. So these are diseases like asthma, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism spectrum disorder, depression, all the autoimmune conditions, obesity, heart disease, cancer. And they are now estimated, as February CDC information, killing 3/4 of the world. That's deaths caused by these diseases. And in addition, they don't just kill, but they cause increased healthcare needs, increased needs for drugs, some of them for a lifetime, basically, once you have a diagnosis. And we don't tend to cure a lot of them. We medically manage them, and we accumulate them as we age. So that's really the current healthcare epidemic, is these NCDs, or non-communicable diseases. And efforts to try and blunt that epidemic have not been particularly successful to date. So one of the things the book presents, and one of my goals in writing the book, is to do something useful to blunt that epidemic, because I think that we are, it's not just that we're running out of healthcare resources and even caregivers, but we're leading our lives in what is really increasingly a disabled condition where we're less able to even socialize. So you look at serving dinner to individuals now, and the food allergy epidemic, that's a real problem. School cafeterias, it's a real problem. Even getting on an airplane, you have incompatibilities that can occur. Service dogs and asthma-allergic children. Peanuts being carried for diabetes to boost sugar, and peanut-allergic individuals on the same flight. And so we're less able to congregate and function. And that wasn't the case 2 generations ago. You simply didn't have peanut-induced anaphylaxis occurring like it is now.
Okay, so just let me ask a question about that. How much of that is due to, you know, what we're talking about here, which is the microbiome in our bodies, and how much of that is potentially due to the fact that many of these peanuts that we're talking about are hybrids, potentially GMOs, etc.?
So I think the answer is both are probably involved. So food has changed. There's no question. Food has changed. But I think we've changed even more. So one of the benchmarks you can go to is look at the European perfumeries and the perfumes. And some of those are more than 100 years old. Same formulations, and they've been actually forced to change their formulations within the last 2 years with new regulations. And the reason they've been forced to do that is because of increasing allergies to those very products. So, again, same kind of products. A lot of them are products out of nature, but we can't tolerate them anymore because our bodies are not functioning the same way. So, yes, foods have changed, but we have too.
All right. And for folks that are wondering, or you know, maybe didn't know, you had a very personal attachment to this entire idea, which is kind of what spurred the book on. Talk a little bit about how you sort of discovered this on your own.
Well, it is just one example of personal experience, but it tends to reflect one of the themes of the book, which is that changing your diet and changing your microbiome in concert can be a really useful thing. So I had suffered for more than 30 years from recurrent sinusitis that was requiring 3 to 4 rounds of antibiotics every single year. Of course, fewer of them I was able to take. I'd become resistant to them, and it was a situation where I was sick more days than I was well. It turned out it was discovered that was caused by or promoted by a non-communicable disease, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD. And so acid reflux during the night, essentially making my sinuses burned and susceptible to recurrent infection. But they still didn't know what to do about it, really, how to manage it. So just by accident, I had helped organize a 6-day science conference in Germany, in Frankfurt, at an institute that was using locally sourced food and preparing it in-house. And we were working long days, not getting much exercise at all, eating good meals. It wasn't a situation where you'd think I'd be losing weight or making any big change. My doctor had encouraged me to lose weight, by the way. So it turned out after the 5th day, my pants no longer fit. I dropped a pant size, and it was all abdominal inflammation or inflammation around the waist that had just gone away. And that got me thinking that somehow the food I was eating there, locally Frankfurt-based food, was not the same as the food I was eating back in the U.S. So I started to do some eliminations of various foods in the U.S., and indeed, that had been contributing to ongoing inflammation that I didn't even know. I was so used to feeling that way, I thought that was normal. That was really important, but it turned out that you still get into those food products. I would still encounter them when I'm on the book tour, again, starting later today, and I'll get into foods. But now I know that there are probiotics that I can take that will control the GERD and keep it from leading to the sinus infection. And I can take those and basically shift the ball game in my favor within 24 to 48 hours.
What are the foods? What are the foods that you're encountering? Are they more typical American processed foods or something else?
Yeah, so in my own case, and again, this is just my case. It's not to say other, the foods that I found that I needed to eliminate or be careful with were gluten and grains and dairy, and I had been drinking diet soda and I stopped. And that was all very important in terms of my improved health. But I still will have things I get into, and again, it is the probiotics that interrupt the GERD leading to the sinus infections.
What kind of probiotics? I mean, are they supplements you're taking, or are they a particular food type?
Yeah, they're supplements, and I actually, I'll tell people individually in conversations, but I don't want to mention them generally because they might not work for other people. They're ones that I researched in the science literature. They had a good literature behind them, a lot of research behind them, and then I also looked at whether people had actually benefited from them, and then tested them out in my own body, found the ones that worked and the ones that didn't, because it's not useful to spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money on supplements either. So these were ones that basically are my body approved, I guess you would say, and I know that they're the go-tos for me.
Okay, so then the average individual, let's say that I decided, all right, maybe this would work for me, and I'm going to try some probiotics. My question would be, how would I know what is going to work for me? How would I find them?
Well, I think that you probably follow a path not dissimilar to what I did. I think finding which ones have research behind them, and that can be both animal and human research, have been studied the most and actually is known what they do. Most often, some of the most effective ones are mixes, so they have more than one bacterial species in them. And the strain is important because Lactobacillus acidophilus from one supplement is not the same as Lactobacillus acidophilus from another. They may carry different genes, and in the end, it's the genes that change your metabolism or not. So knowing the strain and the actual source, and you'll see supplements that specify that, can be really important. So, finding the ones where there's good research behind it and where people have gotten benefits. So, unfortunately, in this day and time, it's still a little like TripAdvisor for hotel rooms. You want to really see what people think. Well, it is, because again, we just don't have the vetting that one would desire, but it doesn't mean that status quo is what you want to live with. I don't want to live with that more antibiotics like I did. So I used that as a secondary level. Which ones had good research? Had people actually gotten benefit? What do they describe? How many people? And then did it work in my own body? That's the 3 steps that I followed, and I think many people would follow something kind of similar in accumulating information. So the result is, after the 30 years of approximately 100 rounds of antibiotics, I'm now 2.5 years with no antibiotics as a result of this kind of strategy.
I would imagine that, in particular, drug companies and even those in the medical profession would scoff at what you're saying because we have been into this phase for so long of science cures everything. Is that true or not true?
I think there's a difference. I mean, and people can ask, is this a fad? Is this a fad? Well, the problem is that human biology and our understanding of it has changed. The microbiome is, by many measures, your majority. It's probably a slight majority in terms of cell number. The estimates range from 57 up to 90% of your cells are microbial. You just can't see them. But gene number is even more dramatic. So there are 22 to 25,000 genes on the human chromosome as a result of the Human Genome Project. There are just under 10 million microbial genes across humans. So that's like 99% or more of all your genes, and they're metabolizing things, the gene products, that are in your body are microbial. So you can't ignore it. It is the front line of exposure to drugs, food, and chemicals, and it's the majority of your genes. So to ignore it would be ludicrous at this point in time. Necessarily knowing exactly what you want to do with it is a pretty open question.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an option to ignore it at this point. It's the new human biology. We're essentially a walking coral reef, and to be a purified human mammal is not healthy.
I knew this was going to happen. We're completely out of time. The book is The Superhuman, or is The Human Superorganism, How the Microbiome is Revolutionizing the Pursuit of a Healthy Life. It is by Rodney Dieter, Ph.D. It's a fascinating book. And if you're somebody that actually is looking at more than just trying to take some drugs to cure all the problems of your life, this is a great place to start. I wish we had more time, but I appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call. You take care. Good luck with the book.
Thanks so much.
All right. It is News Radio 1120 KPNW. Again, the book, The Human Superorganism. It is put out by Dutton, available now on Amazon.com. Well, one of the things that people talk about when we're talking about health and having a healthy life is that everybody needs to be getting a good night's sleep. And I'm not talking about a couple of hours of sleep. I'm talking about 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. And a lot of things can affect that, whether you're somebody that consumes a lot of caffeine and continues to into late afternoon and early evening, people that eat late. And then the other issue is, what about your mattress? You know, if you have a mattress that's 15 plus years old, it's probably outlived its useful life. And if that's the case, then you need to head down to Sleep Train. You will be amazed at the difference a new mattress will make in your sleeping life. I know I was surprised when the whole thing with Sleep Train came up, and at that time it was Sleep Country. I thought, okay, this will be interesting. We'll get a new bed out of the deal. This will be nice. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm sleeping really, really, really well. And with the adjustable base, because I have periodic lower back issues, I was like, oh man, I can get completely comfortable. It will change your life. I know it sounds weird and it does sound cliche, but it can and it will, as long as you take the free test lay and find the mattress that's going to work for you.
All right, check out the triple choice sale. It is going on right now at a Sleep Train near you in Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them like this with the wake-up call. See you tomorrow.
With the greatest real estate market we've seen in a decade, you probably think you can hire an agent and get a good price for your home. Well, if you want a great price and a great experience, hire Harpole Homes with Keller Williams Realty.
Fact. Not all agents are created equal. When you sell your house with Eric and Jeanette's team, you get thousands more dollars in your pocket. On average, you will net $9,500 more for your home than hiring a part-time recreational realtor. What can you do with $9,500? Take a vacation, pay off debt, or have a larger down payment for your next home.
You might ask, how do the Harpoles do it? Well, negotiating, marketing, and their exclusive certified pre-owned home program. When you hire Harpole Homes to sell your house, they pay for your house inspection prior to it going on the market. It's just one of the 182 steps they follow to get your house sold for top dollar.
For your free information package or to schedule a free consultation, call them now, 541-286-3030, 541-286-3030, or online at harpolehomes.com.
Are you ready for your best of the West affordable summer vacation? Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Many of the big hotel chains will have hidden extra fees for things like parking, internet, so-called resort fees, and lots more. The list is as long as it is sneaky. But at Shiloh Inns and Suites Hotels, there are no hidden fees. Shiloh amenities are all free, like Shiloh's spacious pools and spas, steam and sauna rooms, fully equipped fitness centers, and even the kids stay free. And don't forget that Shiloh Inns also provide a free continental or full hot delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. Now that's affordable excellence. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Smoke-free and dog-friendly Shiloh Inns. American family-owned and proud of it.
Jim Olson with Olson's Auto Glass.
I'm the third generation to run the business. Started in 1938 by my grandfather, Emil Olson. What defines us, separates us, is I think the quality of our work. We strive for excellence in every car we do. We try to use the best quality products available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, all that sort of thing. We can do the glass in all of them. That's our main focus, is auto glass and safety of the vehicle. Our website is olsonsautoglass.com. Our address is 2041 West 7th Avenue. Phone number is 541-342-7773.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your firearms headquarters and home to the Build an AR wall. Custom build an AR with all your favorite parts. They are Lane County's only CZ dealer, and they have a large selection of shotguns, rifles, handguns, and scopes with free bore sighting.
Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable. They offer gun safety and concealed carry classes. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Teresa Carrier from Carrier RV Service in Eugene talks about RV repair and maintenance.
It's that time of the year when people are on the road in their RV and something goes wrong, whether it's air conditioning related or maybe your refrigerator stops working. Water leaks, roof maintenance, Carrier RV Center can get you back on the road safe and sound.
Carrier RV Service and Repair is all about satisfied customers.
We're at Highway 99 and Airport Road, the second driveway on the right.
CarrierRV.com.
Fox News, fair and balanced. We report, you decide. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Hours before the gavel comes down in Philadelphia, Bernie Sanders supporters outside the Democratic National Convention.
The election was cheated. It was rigged from the beginning, and we knew it.
She traveled from Michigan to protest in Philly. The FBI just confirming it is investigating the hacking of Democratic National Committee emails that led to the resignation of Debbie Wasserman Schultz as party chair.
Scandal. While Hillary Clinton has disavowed any knowledge, any connection to what happened, Donald Trump is placing the blame squarely on her in a flurry of tweets today, saying, among other things, quote, crooked Hillary Clinton knew everything that her, quote, servant was doing at the DNC, talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They just got caught. That's all. They laughed at Bernie.
Fox's John Roberts. Trump will campaign in 7 battleground states this week. Clinton, moments ago.
One thing for certain, you will not ever hear from me is praise for dictators and strongmen who have no love for America.
At a VFW event in North Carolina, one Clinton campaign official suggesting the hacking was orchestrated by Russia in hopes of helping Donald Trump. Trump's campaign dismissing that as desperation. Police say a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old, one of them a high school football star, are the dead in a shooting at a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida. They say it's not an act of terrorism. They're investigating it as a suspected gang connection. 20,000 wildfire evacuees in Southern California.
Every single day, we have to run into neighborhoods, and we got to tell a lot of people to get the hell out. And they're stressed.
Deputy L.A. County Fire Chief Jeff Tripp says the fire around Santa Clarita has grown to more than 33,000 acres. It's 10% contained. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Hello,
Alan Thick here. Stop me if you've heard this one. Actually, don't. It's important. Last year, when people fell behind in their tax payments, they called Optima Tax Relief and took advantage of the Fresh Start initiative. Well, this year, Optima has raised the bar with their Protection Plus Clean Slate program. Pay the IRS the minimum amount, not a penny more. Optima, they're number one, A-rated at the Better Business Bureau. Optima Tax Relief is the one you need.
Call 800-567-2261. 800-567-2261.
Optima Tax Relief.
Is the economy booming? Why is the stock market up? Hey, it's an election year. Anything goes. No matter who wins, stocks look overbought. Move into silver. Use your retirement account. Do it right. Why pay setup and storage fees? Special offer. Free setup and storage fees. Learn how. Call Goldworth. Request your guide free. 800-257-GOLD. 800-257-GOLD. 800